It's that time again. Once again, time for some Midnight's Edge in the morning. Greetings, everybody. Do not adjust your sets. Andre is not here this morning, but we do have two Canadians with us. A man with a lovely mane of hair, and we have a Mexican Iron Man with us. So I think we're doing all right. Getting good grades. The future's so bright, we got to wear shades. I'm Tom Connors. With me is my co-pilot today, Mexican Iron Man, and he knows how to fly. That's right. How you doing, my friend? You can unmute yourself now. I muted you because you were ruffling papers around here earlier. Good morning.
Arriba, andale. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me. Andre's out today, so you get the backup Mexican.
That seems to be the case. We also have Culture Lennon here.
Imagine all the people living for today.
Oh, that Lennon.
That works too.
Wow, that was evil. Thanks, Chato.
And that, of course, was Paul Chato.
Laying out in state, suffering, death by syphilis under glass. That's how I envision you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Death by syphilis is harsh. But good morning, Paul. How are you?
I feel the Canadian love from above. Holy cow.
I'm in my Martha Stewart room. This is Martha Stewart green, just so you know.
Baby
it makes you feel more comfortable. Is that what it is, or more creative?
Yeah, it's a very nice green. I like it. We painted our TV room in Martha.
It's strangely calming.
It is.
There you go. Speaking of strangely calming, we have Script Doctor with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. And speaking of Martha Stewart, I was a volunteer for the production with Sybil Shepherd on her insider trading TV movie back in the day.
That was a movie that was that the one they rushed right away after that happened, I think?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like, this might be out of the news tomorrow. Let's get this movie done now.
Was it any good?
I don't know. I never saw it.
Actually, I think I did watch it, and I don't think it was too bad. But I mean, she's a decent actress, so that helps. So.
She is, but she is a diva, and we got memos every morning. You cannot make eye contact with Sybil Shepherd.
Really?
Say hi to her unless she says hi first. Stay at least 20 feet away from her at all times. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. That was my first interaction with her. And I'm like, wow, that is crazy. And then, as the years followed, you find out all about the stipulations that she had on Moonlighting and all the other productions she did on her own shows and stuff in the 90s. Crazy.
I've come to learn a lot of the no eye contact and staying within 20 feet of the actor thing is just so they don't get bothered by everybody, basically, a lot of the time. But
well, my rider for Midnight's Edge that you guys are not fulfilling is to have
prunes. Mikey's got a big one too.
Prunes every show, and you're not.
Oh no, Six will provide those.
Okay,
she'll gladly provide those. Actually, just let her know.
Okay, thanks.
She sent me a whole buttload of them.
I'm annoyed. She likes prunes too.
Well, she likes me eating healthy.
Yeah, you could use some prunes, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom, does that mean that Midnight's Edge in the morning is going to enjoy and support the new Mexican Iron Man YouTube guest appearance Terms of Service 2023?
For those who can't see out there, I'm waving my head no.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Okay. Well, that's disappointing because I was counting on your support. It's
just too much. I mean,
three things: no Alf, no Fanta, and no jumping out of window jokes. We're good. That's it.
But no, you have like all kinds of other hidden things in there too.
Well,
what is this? Like only red M&Ms in a bowl in your green room? We don't even have a green room, Mike.
That's just to make sure that we're reading the contract.
Yeah. Good one, Script. Good job.
He knows we don't have a green room.
What are you talking about? Paul is in the green room.
That's Paul's green room. We don't have one.
Oh. You could join me.
That's true. I want to go in that very comfortable room.
But Mikey,
yep.
you want a Fanta, right? Don't you want a Fanta?
No, only if it's being marketed by smoking hot chicks like on a beach.
I'm going to do this just because your head was being cut off there, buddy.
Oh.
It was like a quarter of it. by the logo. It was like sticking. It wasn't that uncomfortable having it stick in your head. Oh,
Hey,
look at that couch.
Oh wow, it's sleepy dog.
Oh, we got Poopy.
Yep.
Oh, he's so sleepy. He's like, why are you bothering me? I'm sleeping.
Grown adult men turn into total idiots around dogs. It's insane.
I love my dog.
Me too.
Well, not only that, we're very easily amused. I can't remember. I think it was Nina I saw posted a link the other day of these guys who were just challenging themselves not to overflow a cup of water. It's like, oh yeah, we can entertain ourselves for hours with nothing. Just
have you ever done the coat hangers, throwing it against a wall, or trying to hook the coat hanger on the bar in the closet trick?
Something similar, yes, but like,
throw
yeah,
it like 10 feet away, and if you can hook it on there, you win.
We did the doorknob trick with the coat hanger. Yeah.
If you take a coat hanger, a metal coat hanger, and you put it on your finger and stick your finger in your ear, it'll sound like a cathedral bell when you pang it.
Welcome to the.
I thought you meant when you. I was say when you mean you got to stick the thing in your ear. That would hurt.
You stick your finger in your ear.
Oh, your finger. I thought you meant.
And then you hang the coat hanger on here. Make sure it doesn't touch your shoulder, and then you go boom. It's beautiful. It's really.
This is proof that we've all had way too much time on our hands in our youth.
And this is what makes men superior.
Imagination. Yeah.
Well, stupidity. And
it's also
the fact that we can talk endlessly about nothing.
Yes.
Oh, women can do that too.
Oh,
no,
God,
nothing is more emotionally centered.
Emotional nothing.
Yeah, they're emotional nothing. Whereas we talk about nothing. We talk about things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but for us guys, emotional nothing is more than nothing than the nothing we talk about.
It's true.
See, and I'm willing to bet it's similar in prisons too. Like men, when we get into prison, we don't necessarily worry about anything but just like occupying ourselves. Women, the first thing they do is try to find somebody to talk to.
Well, you can talk to Gary from Nerdrotic about that. I've never been to prison.
He might. Well, he's told me a few things, but not much.
Can we talk about the weather?
How about we have a show?
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about a show because we've got some member chats already. We've got Six who has no internet, so she's probably tearing her hair out right now.
She's on her phone.
Yeah, she's doing her best to assist me on her phone, but if she can hear me, she does not have to worry about it too much. I think we have everything under control for the most part, but we thank you for your effort, and I don't want you going crazy trying to do everything on your phone, though. So do what you can. If you can't do it, don't panic. But Cannon has been a member, or became a member. Thank you so much, Cannon. I like your cameras. Let's see. We've got Catherine Morrison, who's been a member for 1 month. Thank you so much. And Tim Hayes. Good buddy Tim Hayes has been a member for 20 months. Thank you so very much. And thank you, Six, for capturing those this morning on your phone. We got Dr. Long Dongler, who sends it a thumbs up. If you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please do. Although we cannot guarantee what Dr. Long Dongler is doing with his. Justin B is here and says, Paul Chato is the best of us Canadians. I don't know. I think Script Doctor's a pretty good Canadian, too.
No.
All right.
No. They're several notches below me.
I would probably...
I'd agree with that, yes.
I don't know. I'd rather have Script do my taxes and Paul take care of my dog, maybe.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I don't know. Paul might be better.
And even though I run the tax business, I'm in charge of landscaping. What is this?
No, you and I are going on vacation, Mikey.
Okay.
I would trust Paul with the dog, but I think the cat is so shifty that only Script could see it coming.
Oh, I hate cats. I'm not.
Yeah. I know you don't like cats. That's why I know you take the best care of Asshole, because he's an asshole.
I would trust Mexican Iron Man with my taxes.
Oh, yeah, I do. I already do. I trust Mexican Iron Man with everything. He knows everything about me. Let's see here. We've also got Alex, your arbitration nightmare. Kurtzman sending in 35 South African rands. Says, think we will get a pause in the reevaluation of Marvel content like Daredevil. Hold that thought, Alex. That's going to be the main topic this morning, besides a certain individual who was booted. Jim Watari says, my favorite guests are now on.
Wow.
Are on now. Well, thank you so much, Jim. We may actually have a couple more people pop in. You never know.
Yep.
But we'll see.
We have an entire segment on animal husbandry coming up, so stay tuned for that.
Please do. Aaron Pipe says Mexican Iron Man did not jump out of a window. His suit rockets malfunctioned while flying out of teen girls' bedrooms, evading her irate father, and crashed into a taco truck. Oh.
What? Whoa, hold on. No,
yeah.
Whoa, hold on. No teen, nothing. No teen,
he's a little too old for for chasing college women.
The last time that happened, I was at Andrew Hill High School in what year was it? It was a junior year the last time that happened. And it wasn't the window, it was the patio terrace.
Aaron, and half of the joke is that it's usually married women, right? So, yeah.
Where did this come from, Mike?
This is a joke that just keeps permeating. I'm not even going to tell you where it originated from, because even that's embarrassing enough. But basically, we've now learned that Mike's safe word is, honey, I'm home.
Yes.
And that means grab your shit and jump out the window. So, yes, Mikey's biggest fear is 12 gauges. They scatter. A Tipping Barn says, happy Friday, fans. Well, happy Friday, Tipping Barn. We're glad to be here. We're glad to have you here. Thank you so much for the support. It has been a fairly decent Friday morning so far this morning. Let's see how good we can keep it. Then we got Wift, or W-I-F-T, out of Canada. Says, great show last night, Tom, on Open Bar. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's always a huge honor to get asked to be a part of that. Then we got Callum Weil in the house. How you doing, Callum? Who says, someone convinced me to watch the cartoon Cuphead show. It's awesome. Please watch a song from it. It's called I'm the Devil. Please watch it. Well, we can't watch it on the show because Andre would shoot me, because the video would probably be blocked in 20 countries and claimed left to right. But I'll tell you what, Callum, I will check it out after the show, because quite a few people have told me to check out this Cuphead show. They think I'll like it personally, just from my own tastes. So I'll do you that favor. And I haven't checked it out yet, but I'll do that. I'll check out the song, and maybe it'll make me a fan. You never know. But anyhow, we also have, let's see here. We are caught up for now, so let's break there.
You want to do the member chats real quick? There's this.
Is there a couple more I may have missed? Go ahead, Mikey.
Oh, wait a minute. No, did you do them already? And I missed it?
I did a few at the open, because Six had sent me a few, but if there's been...
No, you're right. You're right. You got them.
Okay, we did get them on. All right. So basically, the news of the week has been Victoria Alonso exiting Marvel.
Bye!
Which has kind of been the story going around. Was she fired? Did she leave on her own accord? Well, we may have some answers to that, because Script and I had heard a few things, and he had put out a write-up on his Patreon, and it seems that pretty much those things have been addressed by Variety, was it? Or is it? Yeah, Variety.
Yep, it was Variety.
And I got the article right here. That's why I was sounding like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So we got this. This is from inside sources at Disney. And it sounds like they were told similar things to what we had been hearing. And Script had also come up with some theories, I guess you could say.
Yes.
That,
the safest thing is that they're theories. There's nothing solid about them. They're just theories. Yeah,
theories. But let's just say that this article also shares some of those theories.
Right.
So the last time we saw Victoria Alonso in public was at the Academy Awards. And she was making a big to-do about two women on the line. She goes, look at this, two women, Alonso said of the female photographers hired for the gig. As in most corners of Hollywood, women are outnumbered by men on the photo line. Emotional, Alonso insisted the pair put down their cameras and pose for a photo with her in front of the giant Oscar statue. Well, who's taking the picture then if they put down their cameras? As they all smiled, she told them, we've worked so hard to get here, and we're not going anywhere. 8 days later, she went somewhere. That's right. She was fired as Marvel's president of physical production, post-production, VFX animation, and 3 individuals familiar with the matter told Variety. The shakeup came as a surprise to many in the show business, within the vast Marvel comic book fandom, a community predominantly online present and in-person significance at the many multiplexes where the studio releases its films. Alonso dismissal has raised numerous questions about the behind-the-scenes workings at the prized content engine. And with them, unfavorable news cycle, as Disney CEO Bob Iger attempts to stabilize its parent's company amongst the bullshit. Anyway, while the cause of Alonso's termination is unclear, the sources said the decision was made by a consortium including human resources, Disney's legal department, and multiple executives, excluding Disney Entertainment the exclusion was Kevin Feige. We'll get to that. Including Disney Entertainment co-chairman Alan Bergman, to whom all of Marvel Studios reports. Alonso, longtime boss and Marvel chief officer Kevin Feige, felt mired in an impossible situation and ultimately did not intervene, one source added. Alonso was blindsided, another insider added. A representative for Alonso declined to provide comment for the story. Marvel Studios had no comment as well. So, that's pretty damning. Alonso joined Marvel in 2006, blah, blah, blah. We've known all this stuff before. We covered this on our recent episodes. We're just going to kind of get past this here. She's been honored by people. Who cares? So where in all of the multiverse did this dramatic fracture occur? Numerous sources familiar with Marvel pointing to the tremendous pressure that the units have been under over the past few years to deliver compelling content, not just to theaters, but also in the form of new streaming shows intended to bolster Disney Plus. In 2021 and 2022, Marvel unloaded an unprecedented torrent of comic book adventures, releasing 17 titles. Funny you use the term torrent, because I'm sure that's how most people ended up actually watching the shows. But anyway, 7 movies, 8 streaming series, and 2 TV specials over 23 months. That breakneck distribution schedule, a product of pandemic and the need to constantly feed the Disney Plus monster, was not of Alonso's making. Of course it wasn't her fault, no. Marvel was far from the only studio tasked with delivering feature-level content for newly launched streaming service, but it was Alonso's job to get each of those titles through Marvel's gargantuan post-production process. By the summer of 2022, cracks began to show in the company's seemingly impervious armor. I would argue it was sooner than that. Starting on Reddit, followed by a series of stories published across the internet, visual effects artists began to loudly complain about Marvel's demanding post-production schedules. Complaints ranged from unrelating overtime to chronic understaffing, to the inability to avoid delivering substandard work due to constantly changing deadlines. Some singled out Alonso as a kingmaker who would blacklist artists who have pissed her off in any way. Yes, and that goes along with many of the things we were hearing. One visual effects artist recently told Variety that the biggest issue for them was Marvel's inability to provide clear guidelines. Now, what they mean by guidelines is, from what we were hearing, is basically they would say like a kind of a rough idea of what they want, and then they would come back with it and say, no, we don't want it like that. We want it like this. And then they would come back with that and be like, well, we totally changed our mind. We're not doing that at all. We're doing this instead. So that is a lot of what they would get. Now, I don't know if anybody else has heard anything about that at all, but yeah. Okay. Good to know I'm all by myself.
I've heard that quite often. They would actually, if they wouldn't even give them rough outlines, they would say what they wanted.
Yeah.
And the FX artists thought that's what they were going to get. But from the perspective of Marvel, as it has been slowly being revealed, is that Marvel were setting them what they thought were rough outlines, but didn't tell them that there were rough outlines to the VFX artists so that they could actually get a better picture of what it would look like before they made a final decision, which I thought was very reckless of them.
Well, I mean, it's hard when you're given a directive that is, okay, we need this hero to run through a city block, dodging obstacles for about 3 minutes, just various things, cars, light posts, whatever, in a confrontation with this other character. Oh, and you're gonna have to make this shot look compelling. So, make it, have emotional weight. That's kind of the direction that they were given. So it's like, create something out of whole cloth with very little visual references. And that's what they were asking some of these VFX houses to do. That doesn't work good. If you don't have somebody there, kind of walking them through this, That's literally what some of these VFX people were saying. In fact, I probably can find several articles that support the idea that they weren't given direction or any form of leadership script. I'm sure you heard the same thing.
Yes, I have. In fact, I would say the way that you described what they wanted was probably almost a verbatim of what some of the orders they got. It's because usually what you get, and I know this from a family member that works in compositing and VFX, is they get pretty heavily detailed storyboards to work off of from another department, and that's where they start. And then either the director or the executive producer gets involved quite early on for more refined details. And traditionally, you would actually have the VFX artist would have frame of references with some of the daily samples that they're going to be using for. But apparently, as we've been learning, is that some of these effects were ordered before a script was even completed, and they didn't have anything, let alone a cast in mind. So that is also kind of concerning.
That's, oh my God, from a financial standpoint, that is so fiscally irresponsible. Wow.
It happened frequently. I mean, we've heard about some of these action sequences that Kevin wanted in programs, or whoever was involved in the project wanted in particular programs or films, right, would order the like action scenes with, you know, your costumed heroes before they even had the show laid out. Just they knew these action scenes. We need this action scene here, this action scene here, this, and so they send out that work. How do we get from there to the work that we had done? It's very weird. Weird way to do stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially that's, I mean, I don't know if this is a proper analogy script or not, but that would be like, I want to build a custom house, but before I have all the architects or the plans drawn or the approvals done or the blueprints, I'm like, go put me a wall over there and I need a fountain over there. And then maybe rip it out later, or, you know, move it. I mean, that just sounds silly.
I don't know. I'm just reminded of the times when I was a teenager and I get really frustrated because my mom would give me directions and all her directions would be over there, over here, by this. But she'd never point. She'd never gesture. She'd just say those things. And I was not even in the same room at the time. So it's like, what are you talking about? Give me like feet, like 5 paces back. You know, do you want me to go left, right? No, over there. I don't know what there is. Where is there? Right here. Where is here where you are? No, here is not where I am. Here is over there. Like it was like a weird
my left or your left sketch. Your right or my right. Yeah, exactly. No, like, and that's what it kind of seems like, is they were like saying, give me something that evokes this emotion or whatever. And like after a while, it kind of explains why a lot of their stuff was coming out looking very generic and obviously bad. Because at some point you just kind of have to throw your hands up in the air and just give up because you're working up to the 0 hour.
It's not that they gave up. It's the fact that whatever they put in, they got rejected or was changed, and their deadline didn't change, and they were told you have to go back and fix it. So instead of getting 6 weeks to work on something, they get 3. So you're never going to get the quality you need when you cut the time given to execute it in half or worse. And that's what ended up happening with these VFX guys.
Right. To be fair, I guess I should have said give it up, not give up, because they don't have the time to work on it, basically. But no, so this is nothing new. We've been hearing about this for a while, and I would argue that it was a problem way before this article is saying it was a problem. And I don't think you're wrong, Script, that she was given this position because they knew this was a problem. And they needed somebody to blame it on. I'll be honest with you. But we'll get into that a little bit farther here. Let's move on with this article. The show I was on, this is from somebody who worked on a show, and we kind of figured out that it's probably Miss Marvel. The show I was on really struggled because it was an established character whose powers they were reconceiving for the Marvel Universe. The artist said on the condition of anonymity. Most complaints, they said, come down to one refrain. Marvel doesn't figure shit out beforehand. That's exactly how it's written. I didn't make that up. A different senior VFX artist threw cold water on the idea that Alonso would single out individual artists. The idea of a very senior exec terrifying rank-and-file artist, per some reports, feels a bit off, they told Variety. Above the line, 3 different up-and-coming Marvel actors agreed that Alonso was only a supportive force on set, so they do have 2 points of view on it. She was the epitome of professional and knows her stuff, said one former Disney film executive. And did I say epitome? Yeah. I do that all the time.
Sounds like a skin cream when you say it.
It is. It's my favorite skin cream.
I use epitome. You should
every day at 12. Still, the drumbeat that something is rotten in the state of Marvel Studios only grew louder in the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, a film that finished shooting over a year before it was due in theaters and still weathered repeated criticism for generic visual effects that looked like CGI glop and were very flat and cruddy looking. This is what I mean by generic. Yes, they said it right there. Even more critical, the movie has grossed $463 million globally to date. I don't even know how it's done that. The worst performance of the Ant-Man franchise, and a figure that means it will struggle to break even in its theatrical window. It'll lose money. That's the wrong trajectory for Disney studio a studio that Disney has come to replace. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me make this bigger. I know you guys can't see what I'm reading.
I'm biggin.
Well, and the other, anyway, I'm having a morning.
You want me to read it?
No, I got it. Disney is an has come to rely on its unshakable box office cash machine, one whose films have grossed over $28 million at the global box office, especially as Iger makes plans that he's cutting costs across the company. Insiders say the 5 Disney Plus series from Marvel Studios that had been scheduled to debut in 2023 have been narrowed to 3 or 4, with the others moving into 2024 and possibly beyond, meaning never going to happen. That will take some of the immediate pressure off Marvel's post-production pipeline. Alonso's absence is not expected to affect the next Marvel title, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which has nearly locked picture. Alonso's replacement was not immediately announced by Disney. Given her expansive portfolio of duties, it may take more than one person to fill her shoes, executives assemble. Now, the funny thing about that last bit, I seem to remember, I can't remember if it was on the morning show or if it was on After Dark, but Scripted pointed out that basically we'll get an idea of whether or not she was fired or set up to be fired. How did you determine, Script? I don't want to speak for you here.
Well, it was originally on the After Dark show way back in either September or December of the year that she was announced with this promotion. And I said it was usually 2 things it could be. It's because it's a promotion in title only. It's studio politics. And that was either she's just being put there because Feige's not going to retire and she'll never get another higher position. So they threw her bone in this, or they put her there because she's going to be slowly pushed out and eventually. And because it is a titled position, everyone else on all the other producers at Marvel participated in the post-production and visual effects stuff. It's all in the books. So Luis D'Esposito, Mitchell Bell, Stephen Broussard, David J. Grant, they were all involved with it. So they basically just gave her the title to have the face of it, and nothing really changed on her responsibilities. So it was very, very odd to give her this. So,
but it was funny because you had said just the other day, then you said, we'll end up hearing eventually probably that it is going to take many people to fill her role, meaning that it was a useless role to begin with, in so many words.
Politely saying there's no filling of that role. That position had its first and only employee there.
Occupant. Yeah.
There you go. Occupant. Thank you, Culture. Much appreciated. First and only occupant, and there will most likely never be a successor. If there is, okay. But it was, remember, this position was invented for her 14 years after she had already been at the company at a studio that was being run so well. They didn't need a visual effects president of visual effects and post-production because there's no problems to identify at that point. The only criticisms of their post-production VFX that occurred was Tony Stark's head in Captain America Civil War in the airport scene where it looked off. It didn't look like it was on the CGI body. And that's the only legit criticism I was able to find in the trades at the time. And it wasn't until Black Widow, then Shang-Chi, then the Eternals and so forth that those things got much worse. And it looks like someone who got this, political promotion took it pretty seriously and influenced a bunch of people that had no idea that it was just an in title only position. And the other remaining producers did nothing to stop her. If anything, they enabled and encouraged her, which is also kind of weird.
Script, I feel like you and I had this conversation a little while ago.
Yeah, we have
like a year ago.
Yeah,
we've had it a few times, and then just like last week when this happened, but like or this last week here. But yeah, no, it's interesting. But I think there's one glaring thing that this article is overlooking, and that was her role she played in the whole Reedy Creek deal. I think it is completely overlooking that, and I think that is a bigger deal here than anything.
Well, there's a smoking gun. There's a smoking gun for that.
Yeah,
and just one comment. That role that she got, those things are created because they want to keep them. So something must have happened that they were afraid that she was going to go.
They're either afraid if she was going to go, or she made a threat that could compromise the company. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it's just kind of weird that it was.
That is what you do. This kind of stuff.
I agree, Paul.
What?
The only thing I agree. I know it's weird. I agree with you, but go ahead.
I mean, on the smaller side of things, I've seen it more often where they've promoted someone to a new position because they're planning to get rid of them, and they just don't want to. They want to be able to renegotiate a contract so that whatever the golden parachute is going to be is much smaller than what it would have been.
That's illegal, though.
It could be illegal because that's conspiracy to terminate. But the thing is that it's not usually done in that manner. They wait for that individual to kind of fail so that they have justifiable cause. So it doesn't look like conspiracy to terminate. And that ends up being the case more often than not because they define the job to be within their skill sets that they've been able to achieve quite competently up until that point.
I feel like we've had this conversation too.
But well, I don't know where Paul just went, but like, yeah, that's basically what I was going to say is what Script said is I agree with Paul. I think that's normally at first what you said. They normally give somebody a position like this so they don't exit. But the timing of this is so odd. And that's where I think Script's theory is a little bit more sound because the time this happened was when they were just coming out of COVID. They were having the issues with ScarJo. They were battling Chapek. I think Feige knew that the writing on the wall and somebody was going to have to go.
Yeah.
I think that's becoming more clear, at least. That's my idea of the whole situation.
And remember, I know I mentioned this a year ago or maybe longer ago, but if you're a CEO or a manager, a boss of any kind, right? When you have an employee that's trouble, you set up what you guys were describing, like points of like qualification to maintain your job, right? You set up expectations. And in this case, they may have done that with her and set up expectations. Like, look, you're going to have this huge title, this big position, but we expect these things. And you got to hit these metrics or we're going to have to let you go. And I think that she consistently didn't hit those numbers. Do you think I'm wrong?
No, I think you're right. But I think in addition to what all of you have said, I find of this article, I found this element most fascinating, where it says, while the cause of Alonso's termination is unclear, the source said the decision was made by a consortium, including Human Resources, Disney's legal department, and multiple executives, including Disney Entertainment co-chairman Alec Bergman. That means there were, at minimum, 4, possibly up to 6 or 7 people involved in this decision, and Kevin was on the sidelines of this. I think this supports what Tom said, that this was a bigger issue than this is everything combined. We have VXS issues, we have probably have budgetary overrun issues, we have attitudinal issues.
Ant-Man's going to lose money. Yeah,
Ant-Man's going to lose money, and the Reedy Creek situation that Tom just brought up.
Which we should talk about. But you know what? We are looking at the Ides of March.
Oh, go ahead and say what you mean by that.
Out. They wanted to wait for the et tu Brutus moment.
Yeah,
speak English.
Could you describe it for the view? I think that is brilliant, Paul.
It's when the Senate got around to their leader and just killed them. However, as according to the Variety article that you cited, we got final confirmation again when we haven't had it since 2009 that basically, Luis D'Esposito has always been number 2 under Feige at Marvel Entertainment.
Right.
And Alonso is not. And a lot of people have been saying that she has been, but that's not the case. She had her position. She had her role. She's been there since the beginning. But I think what ends up happening is she abused her power in production and post-production, because when you're the producer of production and post-production, you can change what has been developed up to that point, because you can always justify it with, well, this scene isn't working properly. We need to rewrite it. We need to get it done. We need to organize a reshoot. And if the producer's saying that, doesn't matter if the development team says, no, that's not what we wanted. It's out of their hands at that point in the series, the chain of production. So,
well, we can speculate on her activities, but what we can easily not speculate on is how much she enjoyed her role, because that is visible.
Yes.
And in her red carpet speeches, which made me want to go take a bath, and then the Reedy Creek rallying meeting, which I believe we've all seen the video on. She just thoroughly enjoyed her position.
Yes.
In a way that I think was far above her pay grade and her responsibilities.
Well, it was also character revealing, but yes.
Yes, exactly. That was an extraordinary. If someone wants to describe that, I was completely shocked at how much she felt that she had influence over Chapek, and what damage she caused the Disney Corporation over Reedy Creek. That's probably the reason she's gone.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying, because
so much money, it's
incalculable. That's the thing is, you cannot. It's incalculable, exactly like Culture was about to say, because you cannot sit down and figure out the amount of money that they are going to have to pay out, how much they could have saved, how much they could lose in this whole situation, the every tactic they're going to have to use going forward to get themselves out of this situation. She is one of the biggest proponents of the whole damn thing to begin with. I guarantee you that was one of the reasons why this axe came down.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't come down that Monday, the second weekend of Ant-Man, because to me that I thought somebody's head was going to roll that day, because those two things alone happening. You got Ant-Man nearly losing the top spot to Cocaine Bear, and then you've got the Reedy Creek deal getting signed away all on the same day. That had to be one of the worst Mondays for Bob Iger in a long time. I mean, he's had some bad days, but
it's all Reedy Creek. All the other stuff is window dressing.
That's what I've been saying is this other stuff, she could have probably went for another 3, 4, 5 movies before they would have fired her over that.
Yeah,
I think the bigger deal is Reedy Creek.
Yeah, there's enough people involved in the effects things to spread the blame on.
What I find interesting, though, is who did we name as the committee of firing participants other than HR? Bergman was there, right?
Legal.
Legal. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out who was in on that part of it, because
everybody.
Yeah,
everybody but Feige, who just said there's nothing I can do, basically.
Well, he was right. There was nothing he could do.
I always like it. I just noticed something. Have you noticed that, like, except unless it's completely has to mention him, Iger's never part of the discussion about bad news in the trades.
Oh no, never. Absolutely, it's genius.
He's really reluctant to deliver bad news in shareholder meetings too. Can you imagine what this is? April 3rd is coming, folks. What's gonna be crazy? Ike.
Well, that's gonna be either the first time they have to address this, or they're just never going to address this.
I don't know.
Oh, I suspect they're probably going to avoid it unless someone specifically asks for a question, and it'll most likely be coming from someone who's part of Victoria Alonso's affiliations.
Yeah.
Who's probably upset by this.
Because as we read that article, we heard that there's at least 1 or 2 people in there who do still support her.
And shareholder question will go like this. Can someone please respond as to why the most innovative, amazing leader in diversity and inclusion and community around the world and diversification?
You're missing most powerful gay woman in the world.
Most powerful gay executive senior on the planetary universal galactic galaxy was terminated by this company. And what is this company's commitment? And doesn't even have one going forward.
I think the most powerful gay woman is that character from The Mandalorian in the previous episode that turned up the electrical juice on that poor glasses dude. And I saw a picture of her showing her guns. I mean, that woman is in shape. No question.
That is discount Gina Carano, Lieutenant Biscuits. Yeah.
No, that is the future Abby from The Last of Us 2.
Oh, that's also true.
That too.
Yep. So she's going to be taking a golf club to a straight white male very soon. Of Spanish origins there, Mike.
What happened?
Poor Pedro Pascal's going to have his skull crushed next season. And
it'll be a good time, right, Paul? You're excited for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You're going to be effusive about season 2.
I love it.
Okay, I don't think they smash his skull until season 3. I think they give us. I think they just lead into.
But we're just talking about the most powerful lesbians in Hollywood, and she's got pretty good guns there. She's very much in shape, and she killed that poor guy for no reason. I can just think Alonso is at that dial.
Wow, bro! All right,
killing off animators. The poor guy, he did nothing. He's just lying there getting his brain rearranged, and she turned up the dial to 11.
Hey, look, she was listening to Spinal Tap or recently watched it or something. This is Spinal Tap.
Sure, I'll leave the room just so you'll be alone with this worthless MacGuffin that we know you're going to adjust.
Yeah, very much. We're going to really adjust this person.
I've taken this whole conversation off track.
It was still fun. I enjoyed it.
Yes. So she's I mean, she's going to be missed, but it's not like there aren't divas left at Disney.
Right. No, and that's the other thing that Script Doctor and I have been trying, and pretty much everybody else here on this panel has been on a panel show, has been trying to reiterate time and time again. Just because Victoria is gone does not mean the woke is going anywhere.
Oh, no.
Because they have to, first of all, correlate that was the problem to begin with. Like, that's the thing. I mean, sure, they already know the Reedy Creek deal was an issue, the don't say gay thing, however you want to put it. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stop any of this shit anytime soon. And Iger has said so. But then again, he could be talking out of the side of his mouth. He could be giving political answers. That's all very possible because it seems like he's doing all the same things that Chapek was going to do, only twice as hard. I don't think Mike realizes his camera's on right now and he's on a business call.
I do wonder what her involvement was with She-Hulk, though.
I'm sure she had a lot to do with She-Hulk. Because that's the other thing, is not is she only influential in the sense that, she had to deal with all the post-production stuff. Let's not forget that she is also the person who liked to put, one of the people, let's say, not the only person, but one of the people who like to push the idea of that the superheroes are just a mantle, right?
Yeah.
She also was the one that I was talking about before in the office that was pushing the idea that the X-Men is an outdated term and too exclusive. And it needed to be changed to the mutants or something else. So again, this is one of the people who's been pushing for a lot of the Riri Williams type shit. So again, first that started mostly because of copyright business, but then it was hijacked by people like Victoria for political reasons, if you ask me. So
that made political, but it's also it's something that she could have used to justify their direction for doing it.
Yes,
because it's like we don't want to say, we don't want to pay the original creators. We want to say we want to include people that have not been represented in comics before. It's far more politically savvy to do that to appease the outrage or to mask the greed than it is just to admit we just don't want to pay, Steve Ditko's estate or Jack Kirby's estate to use these characters anymore.
Well, there's another justification there too, and that's when they can change it in the comics and say, well, we're doing what's in the comics or what's following the comics. There's that too. Exactly. And that's kind of another thing is she was involved with Marvel Studios, but also involved in the offices too, in the comic side of things. So I'm not saying her influence wasn't felt there either. And we've been hearing horror stories about her for years. So I believe all this crap about her, all these basically what I've been calling Ellen stories. But I think Paul's right. I think that the Reedy Creek situation was the bigger point of contention here with everybody. Because that, you can, like you said, culture said it best. You cannot put a number on what that cost the company at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. And it's going to be ongoing for decades because their lack of flexibility is going to rear its head. They're going to be having to, put in zoning requests constantly. And just the bureaucracy that they're going to have to now appease and spend time doing the paperwork on. That's huge. They didn't have to do any of that. They could do whatever they wanted.
And I mean, it's terrifying to them because now instead of complete autonomy, you know, and secrecy. I mean, Disney World was the only theme park location you could not get publicly. You could not get access to a drawing, a blueprint, a ride idea, or whatever. If you want to find out something about what is Universal building over here, couple quick forms, boom, you have all the data on what they're going to build. Oh wow, they're going to build a new, dinosaur roller coaster at Universal. Now imagine that Disney loses all its mystery. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
It is amazing.
And as Culture and others have been pointing out, like they were moving a lot of facilities to Florida, not just park stuff, but production facilities and stuff like that. And that's the other thing is she was sticking her nose into things where it shouldn't even be. Like, what business is hers of the park? Right? Like, what do you have to do with the park? Nothing. You know, like, why are you even getting involved in this shit? And that's probably what their main reasoning was, and I can see that. But let's see what the chat thinks. We got Marksman of 11-7B who says, Tom, they allow game consoles in male prisons. Well, I can see why. Keeps them occupied.
Except you got to watch where the joystick came from.
Oh,
hey, wow. Whoa.
Callum Lyle says, don't forget, do it now so you don't forget. I know, this is my life. If I don't do it now, I will forget.
They secreted the better joysticks to get them into the prison.
Well, what's more difficult is getting in my new copy of Mario World, man. That was difficult.
Yeah, that was always it. Yeah. The Fanny really.
It was called the Fanny Con in where I was from. Oh, and hopefully are you ready to come back on, buddy? No, okay. Oh, yes.
On there with these chats.
He's already drinking.
Hunch the Dirty Roofer says, Mike, it's a beautiful day, and the meat headquarters shrubs need sculpting on a driveway needs edging. What are you doing indoors?
What's the super chat say?
Don't just ignore it. Just keep drinking. It says Mikey have a drink. Mikey's having a hard morning. Pinochet's helicopter tour says, does Disney not do previs work? I'm not a filmmaker, but even I know yeah, that's good stuff. As Classe Azul. Yep. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I'm not a filmmaker, but even I know that effects scenes in Lord of the Rings and even Star Wars prequels did previs for efficiency. Yeah. Everything usually does previs.
Oh yeah. Yep. And
I have not seen a Marvel previs. I was gonna say I've not seen a Marvel previs thing in years.
And what's really funny,
I've only seen James Gunn's previs stuff.
You get a good previs artist. They're actually the ones who end up directing the movie, and they get no credit for it. They will come up with angles and ideas that just get shot, and the director gets all the credit for it.
Well, it's kind of always been that way with effects, because if a good director listens to their effects artists, they'll get the best effects shots.
No.
That's usually what the effects artists will say. Shoot it from this angle and stuff like that.
The previs artists.
Some do. Evidently at Marvel, I'm thinking they do, because I think Script's right. Probably the only director who's an old school director around there who does use previs is...
No, they would all use it.
James, I don't know. I haven't seen
James
any
Gunn
anywhere.
Has gone on record many times that he storyboards his movies himself with artists, and he's tweeted pictures of him doing it and the stacks of storyboards for his films. When it came to Marvel, recently he was one of the only directors that was able to do that, and he's been under the impression that all the directors were allowed to do that, but just didn't.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which I thought kind of out of place, because it's like storyboarding is kind of the fun part of being a director, because you can do it with just one other person and you don't have to worry about all the complaints and inabilities to pull it off yet. That comes when you actually start to process what the storyboards are.
It kind of explains a lot, though.
It's time consuming, though.
It is.
Yeah, but I
storyboarded everything that I did on TV.
I wonder if part of
success grew for Marvel script, would you... I mean, it seems to me like those types of practices that were so essential maybe in phases 1, 2, and parts of 3 probably would go by the wayside, right?
Well, I mean, it all comes down to the more you plan, the better your odds are that you're going to succeed, especially in production, because the more planning you do before production, the less time you have to spend in production because you're not making up anything as you're going along or filling in the gaps because you've done all the planning that you should be able to account for 99.99% of everything.
Plus, you've got an army of people who have to be armed with the right gear to be able to go out on this war.
Well, it almost sounds like
you can't. How on earth do you plan that kind of affair?
Well, it almost sounds like they've been using the effects people as basically as previs workers.
Yeah.
When they get the first effects run back, they're like, "No, that looks all right, but we want this instead." It's like, yeah, you don't realize the amount of work that just went into that compared to something that, and I mean, I can understand maybe some of the previs went to the wayside for Marvel a while back because they were worried about shit leaking out. I can understand that from a tactical standpoint, I guess, let's put it. But at some point, if you lose that, and I'd probably chalk it more up to a lot of these creators becoming more lazy. And we were talking about it yesterday on Critical Drinker, where, you know, they're just lazy anymore. We'll just fix it later and and they don't even worry about conceiving any of this stuff anymore.
I've seen it firsthand in the realm of TV commercials, not so much in movies. There's a level of arrogance to certain creators. For instance, I've been in the edit suite when a commercial was pretty much done, but then the director came in and there was a tool that I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was a very expensive animation tool that you can do on your Mac for $8 now. But back then, they charged something like $900 an hour to use it because it had piles of hard drives and it was really quite an extraordinary animation system. And a commercial literally that would almost be done, the director would come in and just crack it all open and spend the client's money for hours. And just because they wanted to try new things. They had the arrogance and the time, and the client was going to pay for it anyway. And I found that insulting and frustrating because the stuff wasn't any better. But the individual felt that that's their reputation and that's what they're going to do. And I can fully see that being done on the Disney Marvel movies where they just go, nah, you know what? I got the money, I got the time, and they don't really feel responsible for the budgets. And, anyway, I've seen it. I've seen that kind of arrogant attitude, and I'm sure that happens here.
Like I said, it could even be a mixture of things too. Yeah, they could have done it initially just to kind of try to avoid things getting out, and then it just got easier. And it almost feels like after a while, just from hearing all these visual effects artists, like they were taking the Marvel approach to making movies, which is like, you can't do that. Okay, and what I mean by the Marvel approach, for those who may not know, was basically the way that Stan Lee would run Marvel is he would go and give the artists, supposedly, this is how it worked, he would give them a rough idea of what he wanted, they would draw up a bunch of shit, and then he would just fill in the story later. And they would just make shit up as they would go sometimes, which is fine if you're doing drawings on a piece of paper. But if you're having a bunch of effects artists put together this huge sequence, and then you bring it in and say, yeah, it's neat, but we'd rather just do this instead, that's weeks worth of work.
Well,
right?
Lasseter would never, I know secondhand, that Lasseter would never let any of his animations out the door without it, completely.
But Lasseter previs like a motherfucker too. That's the thing. Yeah.
And he was dealing with animators, but the meetings were contentious and loud and boisterous when things succeeded, and super quiet when he wasn't happy.
Yeah, when we talk about him throwing things out, like it was usually in the previs process.
Oh yeah.
There's only two times that I can think of, unless somebody can remind me of another, where he actually redid the animation, and that was Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
And the Good Dinosaur. And the Good Dinosaur was the one that they had the most trouble with, and probably one of the last good Pixar movies remotely even so close to it, if you ask me, but it's not that great.
Yeah, one of the sequences he changed in The Incredibles was the exiting off the highway. when the car was kind of out of control and they're going, no, turn left, turn left, turn right, turn right. This was he completely revamped that segment.
Oh, good, because that was a funny segment. That was
and yes, he made it work. Apparently, according to my friend there, it wasn't working, and then he just came in and said, "No, they're going to exit here," and just have them go kind of crazy nuts.
Have them be like a family in panic mode on a vacation. Like, but this is the getting off point.
Yep. And it sounded like how a family talks, right?
Oh, and absolutely. You know, if you guys don't knock it off, I'm turning this car around anyway. Cthulhu says, unpopular opinion, but D&D's better than John Wick 4. Oh, because it told a complete story. John Wick 4 has too much action with a rush ending, like both, but pacing off in John Wick 4.
Oh boy, are we gonna go there now?
No, we'll get into that in a few minutes here. We've got some other. We'll get to John Wick shortly.
Seen John Wick 4? Okay, I'm not going to watch it. It's too violent for me.
What?
Chad Rupnerine says, does any of your guys' industry contacts know if the door hit Alonso on the way out? Yes, hard.
They couldn't slam it fast enough.
No, she's going to become a UN NGO on, some kind of fascist feminist NGO.
I mean, she was a high up fire, though. Like, you got to imagine she was fired to basically send a message to a lot of people.
She's got contacts. She's already got her next bed.
Oh, I'm sure.
Made.
I'm not worried about her at all. I've said that several times. Shirogami sends in $2 and says, here's $2 for an English tutor for Tom. Thank you so much, Shirogami. I'll make sure she's got big hooters.
Dude,
no, my bigger problem is I have my eyes like to fog up and I have a stutter, and my stutter comes out when I get aggravated.
Oh, I've never heard you stutter.
You have, but you don't realize it. It's not like a typical stutter.
Stuttering's never fun.
Yeah, I know.
Your complete inarticulation that's what I'm worried about.
That's part of it. That's my problem. It's this thing I have to do, and I have to be able to get in the zone, and then I can just read.
Graduated from school.
I tried, but yeah. Jesus Davila has gifted a membership. Thank you so very much, Jesus. We appreciate that.
Gracias.
Then we got Jelani Wood. Says the Black Panther final fight on the train looks like PS3 cutscene, and to me was the first real crack in the MCU CG to me.
I'd agree.
That's one of the ones I brought up in my article. Yeah,
I'm trying to remember if there was any dodgier ones before that, but yeah, that was one of the first ones that I really remember going, ugh.
The closest one before that was dodgy was Tony Stark at the airport with his not looking like he's in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
That was the first one, and that's the one that I remember reading in the trades that people are like, why does this one why does it look like Robert Downey Jr. is pasted on top of this scene as opposed to all the ones before? And then Black Panther was the next one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Not so much with Captain Marvel, surprisingly enough. They weren't great, they're just oversaturated or too much of them. But yeah, that's the pattern that I was able to pick up.
Yeah. Then we got Pinochet's Helicopter Tours who says may take several to fill her shoes. Sounds like ego inflation for her next job, or Hollywood media blackmailing Disney to not divert from the message. No, likely is that's what the sources were telling the Adam Varian, whoever the other author was of the article. Because I think Script's right at that point. It's like nobody's going to fill this role. This wasn't a role meant to be refilled. It's somewhere between one of the two reasons. Either they didn't want her to go away, or they were setting her up for failure, basically. Yeah. Dark King says, is Paul's American cousin named Call Me Cheeto?
Yes.
Maybe.
That's right.
Marksman 11-7B says, Paul, is it true about joysticks, Brothers Guard? Or it's true about joysticks. Yeah, Brothers Guard.
Yeah, but at this age, I have to use Viagra to make my joystick work.
Oh, they got a cheaper version of that now. I hear
they do.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Especially, I would imagine in Canada, you'd already know about it. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says on Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Guns previs the whole Yondu revenge scene. Yeah. That's what I mean. I've seen certain things of other ones, but it's been years since I've seen them in a lot of the making ofs and everything like that. Warriors of Justice says, Siri, why am I single? Siri activates front camera. Hey, Bat Tom, Dr. Scripture, Mexican Tony, TV, Executive Paul, and I guess Culture.
Uh-oh.
Thank you so much, Warrior.
Yeah, stop hanging out with us. Go on a date. Swipe left or right. What is it that you got to do with those apps? Which is good.
I don't know anymore.
Shake the phone in the air like it's a fist.
Like you just don't care.
Yeah.
You know what? Those dating apps seem to work if you're a nerd and you're looking for another nerd. But someone who's, thinks they're hot and is looking for someone else who's hot, it's just doesn't seem to that seems to fail.
That goes into disposability territory.
Correct. Whereas, I when I went to fan fests, I would see a couple, two nerds with a kid in a stroller, and I'm going, how the fuck did you two get together? And they go, found each other online. But they've got very specific requests that's easily recognized and useful, right? D&D fan, a Star Trek. Here's the list, right?
No, I remember hearing there was a Star Trek dating site many years ago because one of my friends met his girlfriend, now wife, on it.
But to me, that I don't think is unusual.
Yeah,
that makes like absolutely perfect sense.
It's a broader target of common interest as opposed to just superficial traits.
Yes. Do you have a tricorder in your possession? Yes. Okay. Do you want to go out?
I lost my tricorder when I bought a replacement. They sent me the mini. I was upset.
I have a TNG tricorder. I don't have the TOS tricorder.
Yeah, I want to get my hands on the TOS one.
And there's 3 TNG ones. There's the medical one. There's the archaeological one. So.
Well, there's the one tricorder you could get that has the medical attachment on the top where you can actually pull off the little scanning probe. And then you can also take that off and it's just a normal tricorder. Oh,
I think we've descended into nerddom.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that I have the whole TOS set in a box still.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Phasers on stun too?
I didn't pull anything out of that box. It's got everything in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have the original TOS badge.
Now I got to go to storage.
I got the next gen badge. That's a giant one that makes the sound when you press it. And lights up red.
I'm starting to get into that mode where I need to get rid of stuff. So I may just start mailing stuff to people. Here, take this thing.
I will send you my P.O. box.
Take this.
I'm not kidding. I'm gonna DM it to you later.
I have to go to storage and find it. Script. I
don't care. That box ain't going anywhere on my end.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
There you go.
No, it's just weird. I mean, I have so many collectibles and things, and scripts from television and film and all that, and I just, what are they going to do?
What do you do with it?
Yeah, I mean, what am I going to do with this stuff? I mean, nobody's going to want this.
Still on eBay. Well, the saying: the more stuff you have when you die, you win.
No, you don't. That's somebody else's disaster to clean up when I'm toast. That's messed up, man.
Oh, that's exactly what you want. That's how you win. It's like it's their problem.
Exactly. It's their problem now.
That is mean.
Hey, I've had to face it twice, and it is mean, but I'm going to do it to my kids one day.
All right.
Are you married, Culture?
You know I have a boss, right?
I don't. I have no idea.
The boss. You've never heard me talk about the boss?
No.
Oh, all right, yeah. The boss is actually in the other room today.
Okay, good. You have kids?
No, we were unable to, despite many thousands, millions of attempts. Didn't take.
You can always bring Mikey in. You can always adopt Mikey.
Oh no!
Too late. He already adopted me.
Yeah. Actually, Mike and I share custody of Tom.
Yeah. They're already spoken for.
You know what? This channel
and I have a single child syndrome, so
when we get off topic,
I hate my brother. Of course, that's what Mead's like. Yeah, no. Warrior of Justice says if I get lonely, I have
Wow.
Hand with a wig. Okay. I love you, Warrior Justice. I think you're having a bad day today.
That's a bit more information than we ever.
I would say these are not your normal funny ones. This is just like you're just telling us very embarrassing things about yourself. But if you're drinking or something, yeah, okay. No, we love you, Warrior of Justice. Hopefully, whatever's going on today, though, because you're off a little bit. You're just sending us things now. You're not even sending jokes anymore. We got Waddle D's Nuts, who's been a member for 1 month, who says, correction, Paul. It's not my money. It's always great until you run out of the other. It's only, sorry. It's always great until you run out of other people's money.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and people who fund their own TV pilots and things like that, I always thought they were foolish. Always use other people's money.
Yep.
Always. And then Uncle Brat has been a member for 17 months. Thank you so much, Uncle Brat. And thank you, Six, for grabbing those and the other mods for all your help today. It is a hectic day without Andre here, but I'm doing the best I can. Jonas is in the house. How you doing, Jonas? This is Culture. Read your stuff, Dibs. Too late. I already dibbed most of the good stuff.
You got a lot of stuff.
I got too much stuff already. I don't need more of it. But you know what's getting a lot of stuff is that John Wick is getting a lot of box office bucks. It has made 8.9 million in previews thus far.
Yep.
Which sets it up for what kind of a weekend here, Culture?
Huge. It's going to go over 110.
Between 65 and 70, but
yeah. But it's going to go up to over 110 global worldwide premiere this week.
That's Top Gun territory.
It's better than lots of stuff right now, and it's the best this franchise has done. So,
and it's R rated. I am assuming
it is.
It is. I went to go see it though, and the damn thing's so long I couldn't get in any late shows. They don't have any.
Oh, it sucks. Oh.
Like the last shows are at like 7 and 8 o'clock, and it's like, well, crap. And it's not my stupid little local theater either.
By the way, War Monkey, in the first 10 minutes of the film, Keanu does say, "Whoa."
Whoa. That's a spoiler.
Not really. He's going to say it somewhere in the film.
You don't know that.
Okay.
Whoa.
No, anyway, real quick though, without giving away any spoilers, because people were curious about that.
Spoilers, I promise.
You're the only one who saw it, so
your thoughts.
Give your thoughts real quick on.
Okay, I enjoyed it a lot. I recorded a video today that might get edited into that might actually make it on my channel, but I really enjoyed the film. But you have to have the ability to suspend belief or disbelief, I should say. You have to be able to you have to be able to appreciate the 3 films that came before. You have to be willing to accept additional lore, because they're constantly throwing more lore about this underworld at you. And you need to like 1980s action movies. And if all of those are in your wheelhouse and you enjoyed Kill Bill and some of the other like Bruce Lee fight movies and things like that, this is your jam. I don't see an upside for getting it on IMAX. I mean, if that's your preferred way of seeing films, I get it. I don't think you have to have the largest screen on the planet, but you have to have great sound, because the soundtrack, the ambiance, and everything else that's tied to here, including any of the sound effects and all of that, they add to the experience. So you want a high quality audio experience here. I will see the film again in theaters. That I can't often say that about films in the last several years. Like Top Gun was something I saw multiple times. I think that you're going to have a very heavily weighted audience that's going to skew male. Duh. You do have, unfortunately, obvious quotas that were put in place on this film production. Yeah. But outside of that, the set pieces are unmatched. The scale, we don't see this kind of stuff anymore. I mean, you'll probably see it in Mission Impossible film. You definitely saw it in Top Gun, but you aren't going to see the scale and the scope. I think I said cinematography is unmatched, but whoever laid this all out did a beautiful job. And and again, this is the second time this franchise, for the second time, has done something unique from the perspective of the viewer during the course of multiple scenes.
So you liked it?
I mean, I rated it way higher than anybody else on comics.
Well, I'm curious if somebody else has seen it who's joining us now. The one, the only, the Critical Drinker. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hey.
Hello, gentlemen. I'm sorry I'm a bit late on this. Well,
no, you're fine.
I think your clocks have changed and mine haven't yet, so everything's a bit out of whack.
I forgot to say something about that. I should have, because I forget that all the time too. My bad, but that's fine. Your timing's great. Have you seen John Wick, sir?
No, I'm planning to see it this weekend, but I'm pretty excited about it because I'm hearing good things about this one. And yeah, you know what? It reinvigorates my hope that maybe we're seeing a bit of a shift towards action movies and stuff again. Maybe away from superhero movies that seem to be faltering a little. And I'm totally behind that. Particularly when the John Wick franchise just started off with such humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Like, man, that first movie, I think that was done for about 20 or 30 million. That was not a big picture, but you know, it's gradually gained this following, and it's great to see. It's great to see Keanu Reeves just getting this success like later in his career.
It made only 75 million, and then took off in the DVD market
and the video on demand market.
Right. No, I can see that, and well, you know, with the later ones, I guess they were getting bigger theatrical releases and drawing in more money that way. And yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see how this one performs. Like, obviously, you're talking there about how it's a franchise best so far. So yeah, maybe the appetite's really just there for something a bit different now, and this could be it.
Well, in this movie right here, the way that this is playing is, if anybody says, oh, the theaters are dying, movies are dying, people don't want to go to movies, bullshit. Because as you just said, Critical Drinker, this movie is playing like a superhero sequel normally would. This whole franchise has now become that. So, like, I don't see how that's a bad thing for theaters. People are going to see movies they want to see. And people want to go see John Wick kick some ass. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Like, presumably even this like hasn't got your kind of mega budget $200 million superhero.
Best I can find is $100 million roughly budget.
Okay, I mean that's still a lot, but like it's still a relatively affordable movie, and so it's maybe these are the kind of films we just need to see more of. And it sounds strange that I'm sitting here saying, hey, you know, we need cheaper movies that are only $100 million to make, but like that's the market that we're in now. But you know, when you're spending that much less money, there's less at stake. And so, yeah, you can take risks on things. You can do stuff that's a little bit more inventive. And, you know, probably the John Wick franchise is a good example of that. Like I say, the first one was super cheap to make. And yeah, it didn't make a huge amount at the box office, but, you know, it went on to be very successful.
It made its money back. That's more important than anything.
Keanu was at the low point of his career. This was kind of a lark on everybody's part, the producers and Keanu also. People don't. I mean, he's had a real up and down career, and this took it to another level.
Very much.
Let's not forget.
Well, I think he had, he had a lot of personal tragedies and so on that I think caused him to almost just give up on acting for a good few years. He'd had a lot of flops in the wake of the Matrix movies, and all that combined, he wasn't really a bankable commodity, necessarily. And this proves like the staying power. You know, he's pushing 60 now. You've got Tom Cruise who's 60 years old. Like, you know, it's pretty impressive that these guys later in their career are still doing these amazing action movies and, you know, looking pretty good doing it.
Hey, I'm 68 and I'm still doing my YouTube videos. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's just as difficult.
It's the same thing.
Well, the fact
it's just as taxing,
with this one, like I said, just to wrap up, the scope of this film is massive. And while I think they could have put 15 more minutes on the cutting room floor pretty easily, it's not like you're not with rapt attention viewing this. You are focused. There are very few lulls. There is no good place to go to the bathroom. So
I think there's another factor too, and I would actually throw Top Gun into this, in that I think people are sick and tired of special effects that give you no sense of danger. And this is a practical effect movie, and Top Gun. They were in real planes for the most part. And I think people feel that. It does. You can't just do it in 3D. That silly Shang-Chi fight on the scaffolding outside the building with all those, PlayStation 3 ninjas was so laughably bad that it just made your stomach sick. And
well, yeah, I mean, I was going to say with Shang-Chi as an example, right? Look at the one and only fight scene in that movie that had any kind of interest. It was like when Shang-Chi fights against, it's like this henchman.
In the arming part, right?
Yeah, like, and it's just a standard fight in a flat open space, but they're just doing really good choreography, really good techniques. It's good pacing and stuff, and it's grounded. And same idea with the John Wick movies. Yeah, they're a little bit fantastical with how many people he kills and so on, but that's just your standard action movie stuff. But it's very much just a guy, fighting his way through buildings with guns. Just normal stuff. It's not this assault of color and just insane CGI shit just getting thrown
that's
out.
my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why people went to see musicals. Gene Kelly and who's the other dude, and Fred Astaire, is that you are captivated by their literal capabilities as fantastic artists and dancers. And you didn't need much script in those movies. And to me, this just reminds me of that. I'm sick and tired of 3D.
It reminds me more, Paul, of just the classic action films we used to get, where it was more like about what stunts. Well, yeah, Jackie Chan, Die Hard films, you name it, whatever you want to put in there. Like, what stunt are they going to pull off this time? What are they going to do to shock and awe us with whatever, they put on the screen? And these movies, you have a better chance of actually getting awed and shocked because, like you just said, 99% of all the crap that's in all the superhero movies, we all know is CGI now. With John Wick, it's all like performance action, right? Like, that's the beauty of it. As we go in and
promise, that's its brand.
Yeah,
and that's its promise to the audience. And it sounds to me in this movie that they've fulfilled their promise to the audience.
Just like what you were comparing with Top Gun, exactly.
Yeah, there's something really satisfying about getting a long, fight scene where it's like, that they had to put in a hell of a lot of work to get the choreography right, to get the timing right, all the pyrotechnics, all the fight moments, all the little beats and stuff. That requires a huge amount of investment. It doesn't just require a bunch of CGI artists to render it all any way that you want it.
And
so
that's the difference. Sense of effort. That's the other part too.
I find that the poor quality of CGI at times, or the jerkiness to it, whatever that effect is, it really takes me out of whatever story might be attempting to be told.
There's one moment in this film where first of all, they're using an innovative way of using the camera to track what's going on. But like you said, Drinker, it is a constant, like, I don't know, it might be 6 minutes long, where you are just following the action of a perfectly choreographed everything down to the last squib that's that's going off all around him.
Well, look at the difference between the first Matrix and the other ones.
Yeah.
Again,
the other ones were just CGI fests. Exactly. Yeah.
I will say that there were definitely, like I said, there was definitely a quota when it came to the background actors and everything else, and not the people that are obviously in the film, but I'm saying that there was definitely some stuff like that. There was some there wasn't really stilted dialogue, but there was some modern audience kind of conversations going on. You could never ever call this woke because the body count, I think, surpasses the first 3 films combined.
I was going to ask, actually, is there a strong, diverse, empowered female character that teaches John Wick about how toxic he is and is better than him at everything?
He does get a little lecture. You'll know what I'm talking about, but it's not without cause, right? The outrage by one particular person, but it doesn't matter. It falls within the story. It's quite germane, so I wouldn't. Like I said, I wouldn't characterize it that way, but you'll see it in Drinker, and then you'll tell me how wrong I was if I was. So I will enjoy that. But
as long as he beds her, then it's okay.
No, there was no bedding. No bedding. That's the other cool thing about these films, right? They're not about sex, there's none of that.
Well, it's about his dog and his wife. In fact, I don't think he's been with anyone since his wife passed away.
No. In fact, what you will love about it. there's a line in there that talks about again, this is borderline spoiler, so plug yours for a second if you don't want to hear it. But basically, how he wants to be remembered. So just put that in the back of your mind going in here. There's this character has a lot of depth, and the way he's played it, and it adds more to the mystique of this universe they're trying to build out with this property too. Because they are going to do a spinoff film, they are going to do a spinoff television show. So again, I'm passionate about John Wick. It's one of my favorite action properties, modern action properties. I'm looking for Mission Impossible to compete with this film, if not surpass it. So, and it doesn't look like my expectations will be overblown. So,
I would have, I mean, unless something's, I guess, radically different in this one, I would imagine Mission Impossible is still going to dwarf it in terms of box office, because that franchise is just absolutely soared in recent years. Yeah, like Fallout took it to the next level.
Yeah.
But
we'll have to see how it does. But on the point of the whole CGI fest things, I was thinking this. I watched last night Dragon Slayer, the movie from 1980, 81, somewhere in there.
Right.
And throughout the movie, I'm sitting here, I started thinking about it. I'm like, you don't even see the dragon till an hour into the movie.
It's not about the dragon. It's about the dragon.
No, it's not.
Slayer.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I was going to get to a point. And then when you do finally get to see it, it's amazing. You got Phil Tippett's amazing stop motion mixed with puppetry from Chris Walas, who did the original Gremlins. And it is some of the best effects I'd seen in a while. And I'm like, none of this is CGI. It's all practical effects. Some of it's optical effects, yes.
It's old school compositing. I mean,
exactly. And it looked amazing. And it was just when you finally got to see the dragon, it was like, holy crap. And nowadays, if they had made this movie now, we'd see the dragon from the opening scene completely through the entire movie. And it would be like no big deal because it'd be through the whole thing and we'd seen it right away.
Well,
it kind of reminded me of Jaws, basically. But yeah.
Look at Alien. Just keeping the creature, way farther into the movie was added to the tension.
Absolutely. Well, in this sense, it's building it up, right? Because they keep talking about the dragon, and we see glimpses of it and some of its, what it can do, but we never actually get to see it until almost midway through the movie. But yeah.
Well, because it's not really about the dragon, it's about the main character. Yeah. And the other part too, and this goes back to why it was always really interesting to see movies with lower budgets, because they realized, if we only have, say, $25 million for this movie that has a big dragon in it, we have to make people really love this dragon, and we can only afford maybe 2 or 3 moments in the movie where we can have the dragon, which means everything around that dragon has to be just as good, if not better, than the dragon.
I was going to
you don't have that now. You can use the cheaper, more accessible effects as a crutch and not have to worry about making everything else around the effects good, because the effects are going to be the best thing of the movie.
And it's the goriest Disney movie I've ever seen. Some chick gets her fucking foot ate off. Yeah. Disney produced it with Paramount. In the U.S., they released it, and then outside of the U.S., Disney released it. But yeah, I couldn't even believe that shit. I was like, holy shit, they killed the princess. I had never seen the movie before. But anyway, back to John Wick. Like, that's why I think is like, I think this movie has a chance to get people's butts in the seats, especially if the weather's good. Because my problem is if I go see it, it's going to take me 6 hours to see it. But let's see what you guys are saying out there in the chat. We've got Primark Vulcan who says, does John Wick at least get his car fixed by the end? Hasn't he gotten like a motorcycle and a horse and another car by now?
I can't answer that question. There's a mix of vehicles in this. There's a dog. I don't want to spoil anything. You guys really
don't spoil it. Next super chat.
Yeah.
I can hardly wait for the next movie that has only electric car chases. And you hear
the slowest car chase ever in cinematic history.
That's right. No, they'll be fast, but they'll be
fast, but they'll drain the battery a lot quicker.
Motor whine.
Yeah, it's what you get.
It's silent.
Well, that's no fun.
I know.
Well, I guess you'll have to go see the movie, Primark. Warrior Justice says sparkly water was invented by Germans. Who else would think of adding gas? I'm doing really good, Bat Tom. Having a good day, nothing is wrong. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure, because usually you give us some really good jokes, and today it just seems like you're just giving us information.
Yeah, no Cyclone 5 in my soda, please.
Mr. Tickle Trunk says the next big genres will be grounded non-woke action movies. Bring back masculine energy. Bring back healthy romance, action, gadgets. Make billions. This is a good question. Let's take a quick break here and let's talk about this for a second. What do you guys think? Since it seems like superheroes are kind of on the way out, what do you guys think the next big genre is going to be? Let's start with you, Critical Drinker. Where do you think Hollywood is headed?
Well, we kind of talked a little bit about this last night, and we were talking
Yes,
around
we
different
did.
ideas. It very much feels like video game adaptations are reaching their point of maturity. Like, they are about to open the floodgates with this. You know, The Last of Us proved that you can do a pretty decent adaptation of a well-beloved video game and turn it into something pretty decent. And so I think that's going to pave the way for a lot more, because there is decades worth of games that could be adapted. We've got the Mario movie coming out, this summer. That's probably going to do $1 billion. So I think there's a good chance we're going to see that, which
D&D,
is,
I think, is going to do well.
What, sorry?
D&D.
I mean, maybe like the press around it hasn't been great with all the emasculated male leads thing, but it could still succeed, I guess.
The buzz around my nerd friends is high.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it could succeed. I mean, I'll see it. But then I think the other possibility is, we could get more stuff like the Mission Impossible movies, like the John Wick movies, like move back into more traditional grounded action films. With whether that's thrillers, whether you're going to get like the gadgets and stuff like you get with Mission Impossible, the high stakes stuff. That could very well have a resurgence as well. So I think those would be my two picks.
All right, script. Oh, go ahead, Culture.
I was just going to say, I think that what'll happen with D&D is it will be decided in its first weekend, and word of mouth will either give it love or it won't. Because I think that, as Drinker pointed out, the campaign around it in the trades and the other puffy magazines has been kind of received negatively by a lot of us that pay attention. So while I will see the film, I mean, if I think I need to warn people off of it, I will.
I think fantasy's had a rough ride recently as well. Like, you've had things like House of the Dragon, which did really well, but then you had Willow, you've had the Witcher prequel, you've had Rings of Power. So man, they've not got a very good success rate at the moment. Wheel of Time, and so there could be an element that D&D is tarred with that brush as well, because as I understand it, it's not your kind of straight-laced fantasy story. It's kind of quirky and it's kind of comedic, and I don't know how well that's going to play out.
Yeah, I was originally
thinking.
I was thinking originally that like maybe sword and sorcery or fantasy was going to be the next big genre because of like Game of Thrones and stuff. But I kind of realized I think it's more so just that War of the Roses kind of thing that people are digging, because we see it in Yellowstone now, right? Like, it's this whole like intriguing, backstabbing, who's going to do what to whom kind of thing. That's what I think attracted people more so, that and the incest probably, to Game of Thrones than the actual fantasy.
Than the incest.
And the new, well, I know that was a joke, but still.
As a Scotsman, the incest definitely appealed to me. My family tree is just like two straight lines, It just goes straight to end.
We were, when we visited Scotland, we visited that one Catholic person's castle. Was it Mary Queen of Scots that had that secret room where she could bring in priests and have ceremonies to satisfy her Catholicism in the wake of all the Protestantism that surrounded her. So you can have a special silo for priests hidden in your.
It was modeled after the one in Vatican City.
How do you know this script?
I've been to Vatican City.
Oh,
I actually studied there for a few months, and not the religion, just its history. And
I see. Did any priest give you a bag of chips and a can of Coke for?
no, I was protected by the Swedish Guard.
Oh,
I usually get a candy bar.
Or Swiss Guard, sorry, Swiss Guard.
I heard the Swiss Guards were kind of iffy too.
Not the ones that I hung out with. They were pretty cool and did not like or appreciate jokes.
Well, and the fact that they couldn't be persuaded by chocolate because they're Swiss, right? They got all
they make it. Yeah,
they make it.
All right. Well, so let's see who else here. Script. What do you think is the next big thing?
I think they're going to try and revive the Speed franchise, but it's not going to work because it's a hybrid electric bus. So when they try to refuel it when it's running out of charge, it's going to take hours and it'll blow up anyways.
There you go.
Whoa. Do you know how bad that's going to be for the environment?
Oh, I'm almost deadly serious. There's been talk about people trying to revive the Speed franchise.
No, seriously, no. Oh, no. That's one
really,
and done.
So far,
that really does. That's like
a woman.
that really doesn't seem like a concept you can spin out into a whole franchise.
No.
What are they going to do it next on a plane?
They tried. They've tried all those things. They've tried all of them.
Oh, the thing is, on a plane, if they run out of fuel, then the plane can't land. It'll just.
They've done it on planes, trains, and automobiles at this point, and that's not even a joke.
Oh my God! I have the perfect script for the new Speed franchise. It just dawned on me.
Yes, and boats.
Starting Greta Thunberg. How fast can legislation be passed to stop these out of control vehicles?
No, well, but we could have the Mexican version where that's a burro that's out of control.
Yeah, that's like they had so many Speed ripoffs when that movie came out. His script was pointing out there. The sequel was on a freaking boat. I mean,
I think what you had in the 90s was very much like Die Hard on and it could be anything. It could be like
Die Hard on
kind of, yes. And that's where I usually on Toxic Tuesdays I have the joke where if movies are similar to Die Hard, I'll rate them out of Die Hards. Like I'll say it gets like 3 out of 4 Die Hards or whatever. Like
I want an Under Siege 3 with 70-year-old Steven Seagal getting rolled out of his trailer for this.
Where he's kicking ass from his he's sitting in the chair the whole time kicking ass.
Yeah. Sit down fighting. It's the latest thing in action movies.
What were you going to say, Paul?
I was just going to say that I can't remember. It's okay. Wasn't important anyway.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. It's just a joke then, I guess. Okay, we got that one already.
No, the joke I had was.
Oh no, we're in the middle of asking people questions. That's right.
The speed on an airplane would be the plane runs out of fuel while it's flying, but then can't land because they've run out of fuel.
Well, Die Hard 2 already kind of did that. That was the thing, like the whole thing with the planes, because they were running out of fuel. Die Hard 2. I do to a point, but if you start thinking about it logically, Die Hard 2 falls apart completely.
Well, the setting the snow on fire and having the gas.
Well, why wouldn't they go to another airport? It just makes no goddamn
You don't
sense.
understand, Tom. They're all out of action apart from Dulles.
Tom,
it's like if it hadn't been like the worst storm of the entire century, like the terrorist plot would have had nothing to stand on.
Well, not only that, why are they moving a terrorist on Christmas Eve of all days? One of the worst traveling days of the year. Yes, let's move a very important prisoner on the same day. What the fuck? Like, sorry, I love the Die Hard films, but Die Hard 2 and 5 to me are the worst of the bunch.
I like
they
2.
are.
That was fun. I like
2 is fun. It is fun, and Dennis Franz is amazing in the movie. Like the whole cast is great, and what's his face too? The guy who ended up passing away here not too long ago. Who's the air traffic controller? The lead guy in the room. Is it Jeffrey Thompson or something like that? Is his name?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, he's great in it. The whole cast is great. And it just, like I said, once you start thinking about it logically, the whole fucking thing starts to fall apart. It's just like, wait a minute here. None of this makes any sense.
Yeah.
But the third film made up for it, so that's all that matters. Because to me, the third film is one of the best sequels of all time. So anyway, so Paul, what do you think the next genre is going to be?
I would love to see a return to the Romancing the Stone kind of movies. Sort of mid-level, actiony movies with men and women participating equally, where and where they fall in love, and there's real romance, and they, both aren't pretending to be gay or whatever it is, and stoic.
That would be nice, Paul. But sadly, most of this generation's writers have never experienced falling in love without the use of a phone.
Swipe left.
Yeah, and it's just tragically that's just the case. I don't think they will be able to capture that type of magic of having two people in a room just talking with each other and actually, a little bit getting under the skin, but at the same time flirting and having fun.
Yeah, and you know what? I miss the When Harry Met Sally kind of movies. I miss, I hate to say it, a Jewish sensibility to the comedy. I really miss it. To me, those kinds of movies aren't expensive to make.
Oh no.
And I think they're wonderful. And they're not sappy, because the Jewish related sense of humor just kind of adds a kind of edge to it. Like When Harry Met Sally, that is filled with it.
Or a bit of neuroticness, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, neuroticness, yeah, exactly.
Or even like Woody Allen films and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I would love to get those kinds of comedies.
Yeah, we haven't had a good, funny comedy that both men and women can enjoy in a while. But I think Script's right. The problem with most romances, unless you do like a time period piece, most of them are going to be "you got mail now." That's the problem. I think Script is right.
Well, I think as well, like just generally, the idea of comedies is basically impossible now, because like you can't make jokes about anything without people getting offended, and so if you try to make one, you end up with the most bland, depressing sludge imaginable.
Romance is dead too on top of it, but you were going to say some Script. Sorry.
Yeah, there's another Chris Pine movie called Ghosted, which is supposed to be a romantic comedy, but and I read the script years ago, and they just gender swapped the leads, because it was originally a girlfriend looking for her boyfriend, who ends up being a spy, but then they reversed it so that it's Chris Pine looking for his girlfriend, who happens to be a spy. But yeah, it's played as a comedy, but I think it's going to be the way it's directed and the things that I've been hearing right now. I don't think the comedy is going to come across. I think it's going to be a one and done type of joke of, oh, look at this handsome guy who ends up being a victim to all these counterinsurgencies that are after his girlfriend because she's a spy. And
she's a great spy.
Yeah, she is a very good spy.
Do you think he's going to get kidnapped by them and she's going to have to rescue him?
Wow.
In the trailer where it actually happens.
Okay, yeah. Oh my god, it's so innovative.
It's just a role reversed True Lies, basically. In other words,
I must be a clairvoyant.
Worse than that, because they had just started dating, like maybe a week into their relationship, and that's when the new girlfriend goes missing, and when the boyfriend decides to go look for her, all heroic like, and then ends up getting captured and meeting her to save him.
See, yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? It's just like, oh, men like to see themselves as the heroes. Well, we'll soon knock that out of them. But you mentioned True Lies. I love that movie because it's such an interesting dynamic between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis. It's just this idea of like a middle-aged married couple that are kind of bored with their lives, or she is at least, and don't really communicate, and just like gradually learning to get past that and like really be honest with each other about who they are and what they want. And I think it's really cool. It's like it's a romance story set against the backdrop of like international terrorism. It's really cool.
It is, and it actually makes fun of terrorism, and it's based off of a French comedy, which I have been trying to get my hands on to watch because I want to see it, because the French comedy itself is a bit more of an inspiration on the television show adaptation that has just been debuted by Matt Nix of Burn Notice notoriety.
Yeah, Matt Nix, yeah.
Well, I mean, funnily enough, two of my favorite romantic comedies, Martha, I think it's called, a German movie about the cook, and Shall We Dance, which is a Japanese movie about a bored husband who starts taking dance lessons. Just two wonderful, or mostly Martha. Two wonderful movies. Now, they were redone in the United States.
I was going to say, didn't they do the Shall We Dance one with, wasn't it Richard Gere or something like that?
Richard Gere.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Getting back...
You need the Japanese cultural background to make it work. and mostly Martha was redone. Also,
Have you seen Robert Meyer Burnett's produced movie he did not too long ago, Tango Shalom? Paul, you might like that
I
one.
have not
I
seen
enjoyed that a lot. Yeah.
Stepping back into the comedy thing. Well, you already had another version of True Lies happen with Tom Cruise and the blonde chick, Night and Day. That was a spy comedy thing. But
well, also Scarecrow and Mrs. King was maybe the first
television.
version.
Yeah. I look at it and I go,
Oh yeah.
all of this would be lovely to have, right? We can talk fondly about these things, but who's going to write it? I mean, Nora Ephron's no longer with us.
No.
She was, responsible for a lot of the rom-coms that you guys were mentioning. And I look at it and I go, where are the writers? We haven't had writers that are capable of this.
Well, that's a good point.
In a long, long time. So,
Yeah.
So we do actually have writers that are capable of it. The problem is that
They've
no
been
one
ostracized.
wants to buy the
That's true.
comedies for two reasons. Number one, there's the possibility of offending the audience. Number two is that mostly the studio system is 100% international, which means a comedy, which is very much cultural and culturally specific to its own demographic, doesn't always translate to other countries, and therefore it's not worthy of an investment.
But
And that's where
something we
Holly
need to get past, because like you can make a comedy for like practically nothing. It's like it doesn't need effects or anything like that. So what, a $20 million budget, something like that. You could put out a nice little comedy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Comedies should be a domestic type of venture for the studio system, but because they don't want to see the studio system that way, that's why they've been diminished so greatly over the past 10 years-ish, at least.
Well, you've had woke kill comedy. You've had Adam Sandler and what's his
Judd
face?
Apatow.
Judd Apatow. Thank you. Kill comedy. Those are the other two problems, because both of them couldn't make a comedy for under $100 million. That was the problem. And you're 100% right. You guys, I agree with you 110%. Like comedies, romantic comedies, romance films, even just standard dramas, we hardly get anymore without them being big to-dos, right?
Well, how do you spend $100 million on a comedy? I can't.
Why the entire cast and crew to Belize?
Exactly. Basically, take all your fucking friends on vacation like Adam Sandler did. That's
isn't that basically Jack and Jill was like pretty much a money laundering scheme?
Jill and
pretty
50
sure.
Shades and Grown Ups, the entire Grown Ups.
Speaking of Judd Apatow, I could have sworn, and this is the truth, guys. When I first saw the trailer for Jack and Jill, I thought it was an outtake from Grown Ups. Or not. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Grown Ups.
Grown Ups. Yeah, the one with Adam Sandler, where he's basically playing himself in the movie, because they have a bunch of these fake trailers and movie posters in the movie, right? So the first time I saw it, I'm like, wait, is this like an outtake from that movie? And like, no, this cannot be a real fucking movie. There's no way. And you're right. It seemed like a big money laundering scheme. It was like, what the hell? How did they spend $100 million on this piece of shit?
I think it was like Red Letter Media who said probably 90% of the budget of that movie was above the line. And I think they're exactly right. It was all just the cast. Just like, yeah, we'll just pay all of our friends like a ton of money just to dick around in this movie. And we know we'll probably make it back.
Money. David Spade has gone on record that he would have been broke without Adam Sandler hiring him to be in a couple of his films.
Yeah. Well, it's not like it's not like
I'm sure he single-handedly pretty much has paid Rob Schneider and a couple other guys. Yeah, I mean, and I don't hate him or anything. It's just it's not like he's making a shit ton of movies, right? But all of his buddies, like 90% of them don't really have careers.
Yep.
But anyway, that's part of the problem. But culture,
I'd like more. I would even go for a Wild Hogs right now.
Yeah, Tim Allen.
That's one of the last ones we've had, really, where they were just kind of the standard.
As that was. Looking back on what we've had, at least it was an honest attempt at being stupid.
I think the one that we often cite is Tropic Thunder. It's probably the last really good comedy.
Yeah.
Like, and even that was like
probably
at least 10, 15 years ago.
It is now, yeah.
I just watched it the other day.
Yeah. Wow, we're old. But
I know, right?
No, I mean, I was going to say Hot Tub Time Machine was enjoyable.
Take two steps back and literally fuck your own face.
I love how he does that, and then he hangs up and he's like, would you find out who those people are, please? He doesn't even know. He's just screaming at them.
What do you mean, you people?
But I love how Bill Hader was playing second fiddle to Tom Cruise's. Like I was enjoying that.
Oh, Bill Hader's amazing.
He can do anything, man. He can do anything. But I hate to do this because I got to get out of here. But yeah, I got a show in an hour or so. Yeah.
All right. Well, on the way out the door, what type of movies do you think are next? Real quick.
I think you're going to get a resurgence of westerns. I think.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, if you look at the natural trends right now, and you look at the kind of television that's out there in the marketplace, and with Yellowstone and all these other like things that are kind of loosely westerns, if you look at the audience appreciation for shows that are now no longer with us, like Sons of Anarchy and stuff like that, I think you think that's going to be the direction you're going to go. And I think that Hollywood is going to start to abandon the idea that they have to bring in 50% of the audience in equal measure, male and female. I think that they may have to come to grips with the fact that they are never better off than when, they have a significantly male skewing audience in the theater, because that's the things guys do. Right.
Well, not only that, it's go back to the time when it's your girlfriend or your wife that's dragging you to a movie you don't want to see because she wants to go, and then you do the same with your spouse to an action film that you want to go.
Well, but without putting too fine a point on it, the movie business has been anti-50-year-old white male up for decades.
Too.
When I remember this distinctly when Crocodile Dundee came out. Everyone laughed at that movie. Guess who went to that movie and went to a movie for the first time in his life in decades? My dad.
Oh yeah. Well, that's kind of what happened with Top Gun 2, I think, too. Exactly.
But Crocodile Dundee is not Top Gun. No one knew.
No, it isn't, but it is kind of now. Like it's a similar thing, though. But
no one knew who he was, and it was just a manly guy. You call this a knife? This is a knife. I mean, my dad would repeat that line constantly at dinner time, every time he picked up a knife.
Well, you want to know why? Because that movie was basically like The Man with No Name just dropped in New York City. That's why. And
it was a movie with a man in it.
Yeah, he was a manly man on top of it all.
Man who shaved with a razor, but when the woman was looking, he'd shave with the knife.
That's right. Yeah. And so, anyways, I think you're right. There are micro audiences that Hollywood continues to ignore.
Yeah. Well, it's you can blandly appeal or try to appeal to everyone, but not really satisfy anyone. Or you can pick your target demographic and say, right, I'm going to make a very male-centric movie, like a kick-ass action flick with loads of guns, loads of killing, loads of explosions. Just give them exactly what they want. Or I can make a very female-centric movie. It's going to have a lot of drama, a lot of character beats, a lot of interesting interactions like that. You could do anything, but pick one. Basically.
Pick one.
But you can also make a film like Kick-Ass, which will satisfy both demographics and the need to, have feminism be, front and center. But it was funny that you mentioned Kick-Ass, Drinker.
Before you leave, Culture, you got a super chat here. Crying sends in 5.
Yeah,
Culture, if someone doesn't know, recall details 1 to 3. Would it be wise to tell them to hold off, or does the film try to catch people up to speed? So if you haven't seen the first 3 films in a while, are you going to be okay?
Yeah, and that's actually kind of what I actually answered in text to Cram in case I was out of here before we got to this one. But you can have an experience that you will enjoy. I mean, Comics Division did not see the first 3 films before he saw this film, and he enjoyed the film. Now, he didn't give it a high rating, and he doesn't have a lot of background in the lore. But a lot of people, I really believe a lot of people can enjoy this film without having that background. But if you love 80s films, 80s action films in particular, and you are still capable of suspending disbelief, you will have a good time at this film. Like you said, the body count is extraordinary. You can't keep up with it. And it literally was 2 films.
I seen Gary was comparing him to Michael Myers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Way worse. I mean, it's unbelievable. There are moments where you're like, wow, that was 35 guys in the last 15 seconds. That's incredible. It's just insane. But it literally is the merging of 2 film scripts, I believe. And that's another reason why it's
I was curious about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But like I said, I mean, in answer to that, but I really do feel bad for having to exit early because I'm amongst all these esteemed human beings that I respect so much. So, but I do have a show in less than an hour now. And, I hope everybody has an amazing weekend because I think we have a lot to watch. There's going to be a lot of people commenting on all of the events of the week this weekend. This weekend's going to be fire. So check out all these folks' channels and
culture.
We have some breaking news to get to here before long too.
I saw it and I'm mad and I wish I could stay and comment on it, but I'll do it on my show. Love you guys. See you later.
Hi, culture.
Catch you later, man.
But thank you, Mr. T, for that excellent super chat.
Just while we're unfortunately in the vein of people having to leave, I'm in a similar situation.
Well, if you can stay for a minute or two, we got a couple super chats for you, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
We got Maverick Christian who says, "Hail, critical drinker! I enjoyed the first episode of Picard season 3 with a glass of Lagavulin. Did I say that right?
A man of culture. Excellent. Yeah, good choice.
Too bad the rest of the show wasn't like this season.
I know. If only Picard had opened with this season, it would have been fantastic.
Oh my
God!
God!
Be hailing this as the show that saved Star Trek.
Completely agree with you.
Yep.
It's a shame that it's you're buried 3 seasons in now, and it's as good as it is. It's not going to be enough to turn things around. I don't think.
Nope.
Right. Then Olaf Van Ness says, "Critical drinker. I loved the interviews at Telenomtry.
I think what they meant to say was trigonometry.
I was going to say, I don't know what that is, but last July at 2022 and the CW of 3-4 weeks ago,
Chris
talking
Williamson,
about how woke politics has ruined movie industry." Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was very fun to talk to those guys. Like, they were both of them like very knowledgeable, good guys to talk to, and it was just a pretty chill conversation. So I'm glad people have gotten something out of it.
This was the other one we got already. All right, so that was it for you, and I appreciate you hopping in here, buddy. It's a good time to get to talk to you, and thank you again for having me yesterday. That's always fun to get to hang out with you guys. Appreciate it. Is there anything you want to plug real quick on your way out the door?
No, I'm just happy with where I'm at in life, so I'm all right. When we were just talking,
when do you start shooting?
Well, hopefully in the summertime. Yeah, so we're deep in that at the moment. We did one of those lovely budget meetings where we went through the script, which we were told to write as if we had no budget limitations. And then
they turn around and break your heart. Sorry.
It's actually not been as bad as we thought, because it's like, here's what it would cost if we were doing like AAA union rates on everything, and here's what it'll cost if we kind of cut corners and scrimp and save in places, and we're almost getting them to line up, so we're hopefully not going to lose too much in terms of scenes and sequences and all that good stuff. So yeah, a lot of that's down to like the directors and stuff. Like, I'm just more of the scripting side of things, but it's coming together. Very exciting.
I am an investor, so I demand to go down on the set and be given a girl I can leave with.
That's it. You got every person who visits the set gets a complimentary woman.
I'll bring a casting couch. All right, well, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll catch you later.
Have a great weekend.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Let's get back to some of these super chats, and then we've got some breaking bad news. Jaeger says, Lore the Rock Monster in Dark Crystal series should have been the future of creature effects in movies. Instead, it will become a footnote due to CGI laziness. You may be right, Jaeger, but I think that there will be a time, and they've done a little bit with Star Wars and some other films. I think it's going to come back into popularity where they're going to find a new happy medium between practical and CGI, and it'll work better, but it's going to take a little while.
Well, I mean, the easiest answer is that the CGI should only be there to enhance the practical.
And augment,
it shouldn't be the practical. It shouldn't be the dependent. And the thing is that there's a lot of skill to it. And on top of that, anything that you build, you can always recycle and reuse in other productions, so you can actually amortize it.
Yeah, like if they ever get to making another Gremlins movie, none of those Gremlins should be CGI outside of maybe very extremely big, huge, wide scenes with like a bunch of Gremlins or something. Because otherwise, it should all just be puppeteers, and then the puppeteers being removed by use of computers. That's it. That kind of stuff I want to see going forward. They're already doing that with like the Child's Play series did a great job of utilizing a lot of practical effects. Because A, they didn't have the money to do a bunch of CGI, and B, the series has always been more practical, so they know what the fans expect. So I think it's going to come back around, because part of what brought a lot of people into the theaters before, besides the story and the stars and all that kind of stuff, was, what are you going to show me that I've never seen before? Well, once we hit computers, There's nothing you can show me that nobody else can show me, right? So I think there's going to be a time where they're going to come back around to it. They almost have to, but we'll see. Mighty Mito Maria, how you doing? Says, do you think Keanu should play John Constantine again? Sounds like the ink has dried on this deal. I don't see why not. I enjoyed the first film, even though it's kind of a far cry from what the character is in the comics, but I don't know. I thought it was fun. I don't see why he can't do it again. Anybody else got any objections to that?
None.
No, I mean, I like Matt Ryan, and I also like the idea of Taron Egerton, who did the audio version of it, getting a shot at the live action stuff, but I'm not disappointed with Keanu.
Just keep Akiva Goldsman as far away from it as possible. Oh wait,
God,
he's writing it. Shit.
So what's the big news? I got to run.
Okay, well, you got to run. All right, well, we got a couple of chats for you, I think. Actually, no, we don't. We got one for script, though. So we'll put a pin in those for the moment, and we'll get to this crappy news.
What's the crappy news?
I was a huge fan of the last Ghostbusters film.
Okay.
Right.
But what I'm not a fan of is this new casting choice they've got here.
Uh-oh.
Kamal Nanjiani and Patton fucking Oswalt.
Oh, no.
Are among the newest additions to the cast of Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel.
Are they playing villains? Because then I'd watch it.
Kamal
Maybe.
is funny.
Kamal
he's
might
not.
be. Yeah.
I like Kamal. I don't mind him. Patton
Along-
Oswalt has gotten...
I mean, he's funny because he's a grown man with a lisp. That's
you
why
know what?
he's funny.
As soon as he apologized for that hug of Chappelle, I went, that's it. I had it.
Yeah.
You know, he hugged Chappelle and then had to backtrack for hugging his good friend in the face of this certain community protesting the fact that he actually has Chappelle as a friend of his. He can go fuck himself.
Nice. That's what I want to hear from Call Me Chato. That's what I want to hear.
Patton.
When it's required, I do it.
That's my Paul Chato. I knew it was in you.
Killer. Sorry. I'm sorry. I had to sneeze. Anyway, let's go on with this here. Patton Oswalt is also joining comedian James Acaster and Emily Allen Lind. So
Well, we'll see. Someone else puts good words in their mouth, they can deliver it.
Yeah. They're not writing it, so I'm not worried.
I mean, Kamal was terrible in The Eternals, but that wasn't his fault.
I thought he shouldn't have played himself in Sicko or The Big Sick because he looked 30 years older than the woman he was opposite.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but that was his movie. He wrote it, right?
Him and his wife wrote it. It was okay.
Oh. Anyways, yeah, I mean, actually, they're both funny stand-ups. They can be. I've seen Patton Oswalt, but I will never watch Patton again.
I've seen Kamal stand up. I don't think it's very good. He's in History of the World Part 2, and he's terrible.
Rats.
I hate Patton Oswalt. I fucking hate
I
Patton
do now
Oswalt.
too.
I used to like him all right, and then he just got insufferable as hell.
Yep.
You can thank Judd Apatow for his career.
And yes, this has been something that's been plaguing my mind too, Random. Ghostbusters is just starting to shoot, and it's due out in December. Are there no ghosts or anything in this movie? Unless they're doing more practical, like the original film, and they're just compositing them in computer, which doesn't take shit now compared to what it used to.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can see because, yeah, I have no idea. Because all the ghosts in the last one were CGI.
Well, that's because they didn't want to pay union scale. Now they got real ghosts.
Yeah, they were able to afford real
cheaper.
ghosts in it.
Cheaper. They got real ghosts.
John Wayne's in it. No, you scared yet, Pilgrim?
Yeah.
No, man, I was looking forward to this too. Now I'm kind of like, what the fuck are they thinking? But
you know what? Just wait for the movie. Don't.
Yeah,
If
I
Patton
hope
Oswalt is playing like the villain, like the mayor. That
maybe he's
doesn't
I was just gonna say maybe he's like an evil mayor or something. Maybe yeah.
Then that's fine. Because again, like, listen, if any one of them is replacing Louis Tully, I'll be upset because
that's gonna bother me.
That's a low hanging fruit replacement for a very good comedic actor.
Yeah.
If Kamal is playing like a takeout restaurant owner, then I'm all in.
Or a cab driver.
There you go. A Quickie Mart.
Oh,
Boy,
I don't know about that one. That
racist
was a
talk.
little low hanging fruit there.
No, he'll be
I
the
didn't
air
make that
traffic.
up. I didn't make those tropes up.
I know you didn't. I know.
He'll be an air traffic controller for the Ghostbusters new airplane, but because of his speech impediment, they don't know how to land.
That's right. Or he'll be the head of IT.
If I have to take a guess, I bet Najanami is probably one of the new recruits. And I hope Script's right that Patton is playing the fucking mayor. Please let that be. Or like basically like what's his face? Walter Peck, basically. Somebody like that.
Yes. EPA or something, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be good.
Because otherwise, that's the only kind of roles I like him in. Otherwise, I can't stand it when they try to make him likable. And I am so sick of his voice. He's almost as bad as my favorite fucking
The guy from the
Seth
Princess
Rogen.
Bride?
No, I actually like him. Seth Rogen, on the other hand, it's like every time you watch something, they're in everything. Seth Rogen and Patton Oswalt, it's like they tag team off on everything.
I think you've learned to hate Seth Rogen, and for good reason. I'm not saying that reason doesn't count. But
oh no, I disliked him before he destroyed everything I love.
The best Patton Oswalt role is in Down Periscope, where he has no lines. He's just a day player in the background.
You're probably right.
So that's it. No more.
So that's it for you. And thank you, Paul, for being here. We do appreciate your time and for sharing your green room.
And I'm going to rename it. I'm going to, in the spirit of the Victoria Alonso thing, about how people get promoted. I would like to promote Chato to the Hispanic Canadian Vice President's Relations Board.
Such a happy puppy. That puppy's so happy.
Yes, Chato is a very popular South American surname, although in Hungarian it's actually spelled CSATO, and it got changed when my parents arrived.
In honor of this promotion, you get a free donkey. Donkey.
Donkey.
Burro.
Thank you so much, Paul. And I love the feng shui in your room.
I prefer burros because of their leather exterior. Gentlemen, a pleasure always. Thank you for having me on. It's an honor.
Thank you for being here.
Have a great weekend, Paul.
You too, guys. Bye.
See you later. All right, let's get back into some of these super chats. We got MEitM. Did we get this one? Yes, we did. Okay. Thank you so much, Maria. And then we've got Cryam here. We got this one. Okay, so we got Mr. Tickle Trunk. He says, look to people reviewing foreign films and shows, especially Indian and Korean titles, male friendships, characters driven, 90s style, strong females. I just want to watch American movies, though. I know. I love it when you guys
don't exist anymore.
I know. It's like, I love that everybody's like trying to, you guys can just watch anime. You can watch this stuff. It's like, but I just want to watch American movies.
Have you seen the Chinese movie Unghamu Hai?
No.
I just made that up. I was kidding. It was a joke.
I know. We got Lost for Words here. How you doing, Lost for Words? Thank you so much. I believe that's a thumbs up, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you so much, Lost for Words. And if you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please do. We got Jim Watari again with another 1999 who says Lawrence Fishburne gives Zorg level gear porn description of John Wick's new guns. Oh, too bad I didn't get to this one before Paul left. Because Paul doesn't want to see that. He's like, it's too violent for me. But if he hears there's gear porn in it, he might perk up. He likes gear porn. Then we got, go ahead.
Don't we all?
Oh, don't we all? Yes. Ty Ramers says, watch Top Secret last night. Man, I miss movies like that. Yeah. Yeah, classic Val Kilmer film. Wolven Weaver says, I would posit there is a demand for fantasy, sword, and sorcery, but movies need to be good. Yes. Most recent tries by Amazon and Disney haven't been. This is true. I mean, people did flock to the Game of Thrones spinoff, so that's not exactly a good arbiter of whether or not it's you know, whether or not it's actually sword and sorcery that people want, or they just want the type of stuff that Game of Thrones offers them.
Well, they want really interesting drama and character dynamics. So the genre is a little bit inconsequential to that.
Yeah.
But the genre is also the cover of the book that you're going to be picking up. You want to see what it's like on the back. It just has to, take some time to get there. So fantasy could be the next big thing, but I think it might be a bit more local in regards to our contemporary times. It might be Western. Razorfist thinks that it might be mystery and film noir. It's still kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for horror after seeing Megan, even though
horror has never died.
Yeah, horror's never gone away. They like to pretend it does, but it doesn't. It just goes in phases.
Well, there's usually a great one that stands out, and then the rest just fall to the wayside because horror is the easiest genre to break in with, and it's the cheapest to do and get out quickly.
Yep.
And there's very few horror movies that are actually different enough to warrant individuals compared to science fiction, detectives, fantasy, comedy. Horror is pretty much almost always the same.
It takes nothing to crank out a Scream movie. Why do you think it took them a year? Not even really to crank out another one. Yeah, and there's going to be another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. So yeah, horrors never really went anywhere. Icthulu says script. They need to make a manga villainous adaptation movie. Great genre and deserves exposure.
I disagree. I think manga and anime should stay in manga and anime because that's what makes manga and anime special. When we try to live action reinterpret it, it loses the mystique. But Icthulu, keep promoting people to go read the manga, and if there's a cartoon version to watch that. Don't try to get Western live action people to do it. They failed multiple times. Especially like Cowboy Bebop, the most egregious recently.
Well, and not only that, even if they do get it right, it doesn't matter because it's still, at the end of the day, it's still animated. Like, this is kind of reminds me of the whole like live action in quotations Disney remakes. It's like they're still fucking animated. You can call them live action,
Jungle Book was kind of the Who Framed Roger Rabbit version of that, where it's one real actor among all animated characters.
Basically, yes. And then like Aladdin would be the closest to maybe like the reversal of that, I guess, to a point, because it's just basically Will Smith is being augmented the most, and I'm sure the backgrounds and the actors are just in front of green screens. But Lion King, like we point out, 100% animated. I think there's only like one real shot of Africa in the whole movie, from what I've heard.
Really?
Yeah. So like to me, like unless you have some like Cowboy Bebop was the only one that had potential, and they fucked that up. Right, because almost every other one of these animes, you have to do some kind of augmentation or some kind of CGI. So at that point, it's like if you have to do that to make it look and feel like the original anime, then just watch the anime.
Exactly.
I agree with
I think they did a live action Death Note, and I don't think it translated as well as the cartoon, or the anime. So
there's obviously going to be a few exceptions.
Listen,
but for the most part, yeah, I think I agree with script.
I really did at a time want to do my own version of like a live action Gundam series, like an original Gundam story that wasn't adapting any of the animes, but Gundam just live action. But as I started getting involved with it, I realized this is not live action is not the medium for a Gundam story. It's got to be anime.
And again, there's going to be exceptions to the rules. Like I said, sometimes it's like here's one's brought up that goes, I guess it went straight from manga to live action. If you're able to do that, that's fine.
That was also done like 34 years ago.
Yeah.
With a lot of different stuff going on about it. And Lone Wolf and Cub is okay, but I preferred the manga more.
My point is just basically that is like, if you have to augment anything to do it, then you probably shouldn't. That's your first like rule, right? Like, and then secondly, if you have to like gouge out a bunch of the story to also make it happen or something like that, that's another reason not to do it.
Guys, I have breaking news that I'm going to be in my own Gundam.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
See that
we need more green in it though.
That's the Fed for Hire live action. You see that's my real face.
It is your real face.
Yeah.
You look very happy to be a Gundam.
Yeah, I don't even know what a Gundam is, but Fed for Hire made me one. So
That's a
It's
Gundam.
it's a robot made of Gundanium metal, which is mined in the asteroids. Mined from
There you
asteroids.
go. And it's kind of become just like a catch-all for like giant robots now. But yeah, in a way.
Well,
Yes, that's
it's a version of
specifically.
mobile suits. Yes.
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean. But thank you, and I agree with script because that's one of those things that's really tough to adapt. Jonas J. Campbell says Mr. and Mrs. Smith is an A+ rom action com with 2 capable, attractive leads. Can you imagine? Wasn't that one also a remake of a foreign film, Script Doctor?
I believe it was. Yes.
I think so. Like a French film, like all like remakes of
It's
French
the
films.
movie that broke up Brad and Jennifer Aniston.
That's true.
Angelina Jolie was seducing him.
Yeah. But at the same time, I do remember that. I thought that was a remake too. But yeah, that was pretty pop. Oh God, I remember that being so popular when it came out. David March says a good, fun, completely stupid movie. 2019's Buddy Games, incredibly offensive. Never heard of this one. Buddy Games.
There was a game night comedy that had Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman that was okay, but did not make any waves like they were hoping.
Okay, Buddy Games is a group of friends who reunite to play the Buddy Games, a wild assortment of physics. Oh, I kind of remember this one.
I remember that.
Wasn't this
at the same time
originally
as, like Tag?
I was gonna say I think that was the original name of it, and they changed the name of it. Actually, Script. To be honest with you, because that's what this looks like. Is that movie? Because it's got like Kevin Dillon and all that stuff in it. Yeah. Unless it's a totally different film.
I think Ryan Reynolds was in Tag.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, you're right. So this is it looks like the cheaper version of that because you got Dax Shepard, who is basically Ryan Reynolds when you can't get Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
And it's got Olivia Munn, so you know it's not going to be good.
Yeah, she's in it too.
I like her.
You can like her for her appearence. Just she's got stripper eyes and just.
I don't remember hearing about this one.
Hey, there you go again, judging my dating choices. Script. Stop judging me right now.
Garfield's Bizarre Adventure says, when the MCU finally adapts the X-Men, do you think they'll stick to the classic roster, or will they simultaneously bring in their crappy newbies? Okay. This has been like a question on everybody's mind, and I've just from what I've been hearing, this is just like rumbles, not like I would even barely call them rumors. They're not even that much at this point. From what I've been hearing, they're kind of trying to figure out what to do with it. It sounds like they're going to just reuse a lot of the first class cast. I can't talk today. First class cast. So a lot of them are going to come back along with like Hugh Jackman and stuff for a bit. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, they'll probably just completely reboot it.
They should just completely reboot it.
I
agree. Actually did really well with First Class, and then Bryan Singer got his paws back into it and took off the rails. Because I think
you're not wrong.
Doing a great job for all the little issues that were with the first movie. It was still one of the best X-Men movies we'd had in a very long time because it was really like that next to is basically it.
Yeah. No, I think if they're smart,
Wolverine the movie with X-Men.
If they want to print money, they will basically just do what they did in the 90s series to a T almost. Like try and cast everybody looks like that, suits like that, pretty much same storylines, all that business.
Yeah, maybe rein in the soap opera level of drama just to.
Yeah, you could probably add in some of the more risque stuff they weren't allowed to do, but yeah.
Because if I had a drinking game with my buddies, so like anytime Scott says Jean or screams out her name, you'd get plastered. My friends definitely got plastered within like 10 minutes of like an average episode because it's done so often.
Well, Cyclops was also a character who was done dirty anyway, pretty much. But yeah,
he's been done dirty since the revival of the comics, actually. With the giant size X-Men. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I still think the Marvel cartoons of the 90s are far more worse than we want to give them credit for. They're okay, but they're not.
They're cheesy. They're definitely cheesy.
They do not hold up anywhere near in comparison to Batman the Animated Series. At that
no. But what I'm getting at though is they at least did try to adapt storylines from the comics as best they could.
Oh, and they tried to do it very coherently too.
Right.
I still think the best Marvel cartoon is Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They nailed it for a Cliff Notes stuff. Spider-Man, the 90s Spider-Man, very, very cheap cartoon. Okay stories. Has great voice cast, but I would stick with Spectacular Spider-Man, far more authentic to that. Like, again, Marvel did not do well with their cartoon shows in the 90s, but they did a lot better, right before Disney started canceling their shows.
I was going to say, which is funny because even back then in the 90s, I think Buena Vista, aka Disney, handled all that shit.
Buena Vista did all of it was distributing their cartoons through Fox Kids. Because Fox Kids brokered a deal with Warner Brothers, Disney, and another studio.
So it was crappy Disney animation, basically.
Oh, God, yeah. Like, even between, I think, the technically third and fourth season of X-Men, the animation style completely changes.
Yeah.
Where it's like the inking is all, or the colors are all off. And
I just happened to notice that because it was back when the Hulk came out, the original Hulk, the Ang Lee one. Yeah, and because they brought out like a selection of the animated Hulk series from the 90s on disc, and I happened to notice it said distributed by Buena Vista. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Disney. Like, like Disney owned all the fucking 90s animated Marvel cartoons. Funny.
Yep.
Anyway, Marksman 117B says Megan used a surprising level of practical effects. Yes, it did. And it also augmented in some cases too. And I just got that movie in the mail yesterday. So I hope to get a chance to watch it this weekend. So yay me. Buff Geek says, Tom, it was great seeing you, Mahler, and Gary, and with Drinker last night. Possible Midnight's neurotic team up in the future. You never know. We try to get Gary on when we can. He's a busy man. But you never know. And if he ever asks me for anything, I try to make myself available. So, yeah, never say never.
You did great on that show, I want to tell you. It was
thank you.
That was a really awesome live stream.
Well, thank
I watched it later after the fact, and it was great.
I always talk too much. Tommy Reviews says, Gundam G Savior is a live action from 2000. There you go.
We're not supposed to talk about Gundam G Savior.
Uh-oh. Well, see,
we're supposed to talk about Tequila Gundam.
We'll totally talk about Tequila Gundam.
Yeah.
It sounds too much like Tequila Gundam, so yeah.
Oh, he'll kill you, all right, with tequila.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Hill says, anyone asking for anime to be made live action needs to watch Satoshi Kon. Editing space and time animation is a different medium. Yes. Sorry, Sadie's barking at the neighbor cat, probably. Taryn the Black says, hear me out, a live-action Top Gun style Macross movie series. Oh, yeah. Again, there's always exceptions to the rule, but, like, some of the animes that a lot of people want to see are just stuff that I think would be impossible to do in live action without some kind of compromises. But, yeah. I like robots that fight. Don't y'all? Everybody likes robots that fight.
Yeah.
And with that, we have no more news. Let me double check to make sure we haven't missed any member chats. And we can maybe get out of here.
Cool.
We got Max Relax, who gifted a membership. I think we already said that one. And Big Daddy MRI gifted 10 Midnight's Edge memberships. Thank you so very much. Big Daddy always coming through like a champ. And thank you to all the mods.
Jesus Davila, he gifted one.
And yeah, we got Jesus's earlier. And then 6 says I got 2 in my DMs, and then we just got those 2, so we're good to go. Awesome sauce. And with that, I want to thank everybody who stopped in today. Paul, of course, Culture, who left early, and Critical Drinker for taking a little time to hop in today. That was awesome. Script Doctor, of course, for being here, and Mike for being my co-pilot. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh, happy to be here.
And it's so nice to get out of here before 3 hours.
Let's do it. Quick.
And Six still helped, even though she didn't have any internet. So thank you so much, Six, for putting up with whatever it is you had to put up with to help me today. You have no idea how much it does help. Along with all the other mods, I see Willie. I know we had Big Daddy MRI here. The rest of the crew that's listening in, thank you so very much. And you guys out there listening, for you guys are what make this whole thing happen. So yeah, let's see where we can send you guys. It looks like Fat Steven's live. You could head over there, or Nina's live. Let's give you guys a link.
Starting in 14 minutes.
Culture starting in 14 minutes. So don't forget to check him out too. So yeah, you guys, the links can probably be shared by the mods in the chat, and you guys can pick your choices where you go. Just let them know that we sent you. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other. And as Andre says, it is time for Koalas in the Rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.